Did you watch the miniseries, Sal? Or did you not get a chance?
No.
Never mind.
I mean, I saw it. I've seen it so much in my life. It's like I don't.
haven't.
It's well, I watched it when I was a kid. It was actually like I used to live in New York. We have like a basement, and we have like a little like we had a TV down there. Actually, a TV where I used to watch like all my wrestling back in the day. And yeah, my mom showed me the miniseries. And I watched it when I was a kid. And I got to the scene where like Pennywise talks to Georgie and Georgie gets taken, and also the miniseries is the bit where like Mike Hamlin sees like the little girl being taken in the thing, and like
he's behind the sheets, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a thing in my neighborhood. People putting up their stuff at sheets, and so I started screaming and crying, and I was mortified of that series for a good decade or so.
Wow.
Yeah, until
it's. So
I think you and me watched it, Josiah.
We did. We watched it. I forget if it was before or after the part 1 came out.
I think it was before. I think we were prepping because I bought it on Amazon Video because I was like,
but yeah. Oh yeah. So we technically own it on Amazon, and then I bought a Blu-ray copy as well.
Well, because we couldn't. I bought it on there because it was before Chapter 1 came out. And so, like, they weren't, like, promoting the Blu-rays at Best Buy and Walmart and shit. And then after I bought it on Amazon, like, 2 weeks later, it started coming out. And
got it super cheap.
Yeah.
Fucked. Yeah.
But hey, welcome to the Escape Pod. My name's Sal.
I'm Josiah.
I'm Nathan.
And this is our podcast conversation about It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Because we wanted to kind of wait for both movies to be out so we can look at it and go...
Oh, yeah. I guess we briefly talked about... No, I guess that's true. I guess we toyed with the idea of talking about it.
Briefly go over it. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time.
Well, I'm sure it's going to come up a lot.
Yeah. So, want to just start in Chapter 2?
Well, no, I think we should give like brief thoughts on Chapter 1, I guess.
How about just a summary of what we thought worked and what didn't as of our latest viewing for Chapter 1?
Because Nathan and I watched it the day of. Because we were like, we're going to watch this the day before.
I watched most of it the day of. I got right before they went to the final confrontation.
Because I hadn't seen it for 2 years.
Yeah.
I hadn't watched it. It's like Logan, where it's like, hey, I like this movie. I haven't watched it since it came out.
Yeah.
So we watched it right before, so it was extremely fresh. And basically, I don't think my thoughts changed at all besides in my memory. I remembered it being, like, not as good as I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so basically I was like, hey, I remember really liking the movie when it came out. And then it kind of depreciated over time, and then I saw it again, and I was like, well, that's better than I thought it was going to be. I think my only real problem with Chapter 1 was when they go to the house the first time, it becomes a bit of just like, let's just throw a bunch of scares at you for 30 minutes.
It becomes like a haunted house, basically.
Yeah, which, I get, but it does kind of drag a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But I'd say what worked is that Chapter 1 was a very solid character piece.
Yeah.
Most of the characters got arcs. I'd say Mike Hamlin gets really fucked over.
Mike, yeah, because they gave most of Mike's like book nerdy-ish history stuff to the new kid Ben.
Yeah. And it's weird because in part 2, then he's just immediately back to his role in the book. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you? I don't know.
And then also in part 1 where it's like, oh, if you aren't outside, then you're inside getting slaughtered. And it's like, oh, so he's going to use his gun to kill people. No, he fails, and then Bill uses it. It's like, okay, so what?
Mike Hanlon kind of gets.
It's because he didn't have a slingshot. So.
But for the most part, all the other losers clubs are pretty well defined. They get enough scenes to facilitate their character arcs. I'd say like Stan probably could have used
a bit more.
He always could have used more.
He always could have used more.
Stan's the character in it where it's like, I need more of him.
Yeah, because in the miniseries, it's like almost nothing.
Stan.
He gets like I swear to you, when he's a child, he gets like 5 lines.
Mm-hmm.
I was counting. I was like, oh.
Well, because kind of spoiler alert, I guess for
we're gonna spoil like every possible iteration or version of it, the book, the miniseries, both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's cool about the movies is that since it's in mostly a linear fashion,
Right.
you get to watch it chapter 1 not knowing that Stanley's going to get instantly fucking killed.
I do think that was the benefit of doing it that way.
I agree, because in the miniseries, you're like, oh, well, I know adult Stanley dies, so anything kid Stanley does, I'm kind of like, because I know he's going to die already, and they don't really put a lot of effort into making him a bigger character.
Again, I haven't read the book
Neither have
all
I.
the way, but from my copious knowledge of it, I don't remember if the same thing happens where Bev like sees the future and then because in part 1 they have the moment where she looks at Stan and says, "Oh yeah, you're there too. You just look a little older, I guess," and that's like, oh. In retrospect, if you don't know the story and you're watching this for the first time, that becomes a bonus when you rewatch it. That it's like, oh, he's dead.
I remember a thing where I think Stanley was the one who actually looked into the deadlights, and that's why he was so mentally weak and killed himself. Is because he's the one who saw the deadlights and was like, "Oh well, fuck! I know true horror.
Yeah,
fuck that.
That would have made sense.
That would have been good.
I think I like both, but also like give Stanley more than his weird suicide note.
We'll get into Stan's suicide note. Nathan, what about you? What about chapter? How would you sum up chapter 1 and like?
I agree with most of that. I would also say, again, I have kind of the same thing where it's like I really liked it watching it, and then my memories of certain things depreciated.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, over time, I was like, oh, it used a lot of jump scares, which I think aren't very effective, and then watching it again, I was like, I get what they're doing. It's effective because they're kids, and it's not too much back-to-back jump scare, except for the first haunted house sequence.
Yeah.
The house is the only like all throughout the movie. I really like the pacing of chapter 1 because the way they have all the kids realize that Pennywise is a thing is really good because it makes the scares like much more natural because it's like, well, this is their first like encounter with him. And so it's like he has to make an impression, and then that stuff gets filtered back when he resumes those certain forms, I guess.
See, I always felt like Richie needed more to do, or more things to happen to him.
No. So I remember talking to Nathan when we were watching part 1. Nathan was like, "No, I think Richie gets worse as the movie goes on." I'm like, "No, I think he gets better as it goes on because they start calling out that he's annoying."
Yeah.
I think what we ended up saying was it's not necessarily that he tells too many jokes. It's that they are all clearly, I'm telling a joke now, whereas it doesn't feel like character dialogue. And it's like, even if you are the snarky, I make jokes kids, like 90% of what you say every day is not a joke.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be harsh and say I think Finn Wolfhard's a good actor, but I like Seth Green more in the miniseries.
Yeah.
I think his humor is a bit more like realistic level of he's a kid who wants to be a comedian, whereas Finn Wolfhard feels like I'm a kid who am getting fed like really good one-liners by the script.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
you can't possibly compete with me, other comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I do find him funny, and I do think Finn Wolfhard's great. Richie's the one character who discovers Pennywise not individually with everybody else.
He discovers it last.
So for most of the movie, he's like just fucking around because he's like, yeah, we're just kids.
Yeah.
So I love in the movie whenever they're like, we're kids, we're supposed to be having a fun summer. Why the fuck are we chasing after a crazy killer clown?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not supposed to do this. My mom's gonna fucking kill me. Like, what's happening? Why? And I kind of like that.
I do think it's probably one of the better, like, what I call Spielbergian throwback films.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is.
Like there's
it's better than fucking Stranger Things.
Yes.
It's better than Super 8 from my memory.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to rewatch Super 8 because there's definitely some good stuff in there, but I feel like they're all the same story, basically. Like, what if we did Goonies?
Yeah,
and I think I've seen Goonies once, but I do like. Yeah, I'd say like It Chapter 1 was really good, and I was just very curious how they were gonna do part 2, considering that I would say all the best stuff in the story, and again, I haven't read the book, but a lot of the best stuff, or stuff that I think is the best constructed, is the kids stuff.
And yeah, like I think definitely that, like, I love Chapter 1. I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw it like twice in theaters.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Which I don't normally do. Like I barely even watch movies in theaters, let alone see them twice.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember you saying that. You made a point of saying like, yeah, I'm surprised that I'm seeing it again, or something like that.
I might see the second one again too, because I like the second one.
I guess the only thing we could discuss for Chapter 1 without being redundant later is, how did we feel about Bill Skarsgård just going off of Chapter 1 and nothing else as Pennywise, and factoring in the Tim Curry coming before him, I guess, because I love Tim Curry.
Yeah, I love Tim Curry.
I rewatching the miniseries, I was surprised at how there's definitely stuff that's like, this is a 1990s. Or like basically it came out in 1990, so it's a 1980s TV miniseries. But I'm surprised like how actually unnerving he really is.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely is.
Because like I don't know, because Tim Curry, and this is something where it's like just a different interpretation. I feel like Bill Skarsgård, like they're really trying to kind of like from his mannerisms to like some of the way they just handle him, like the tone he's supposed to be, like they're pushing like, oh, this guy's like unnatural like the moment you see him. Whereas like I think the creepy thing about Tim Curry is like you could see him as like a normal
Clown.
guy, like because they do Bill Skarsgård as like he's from the 1800s clown,
Yeah.
whereas Tim Curry's like some guy who, you know, if he popped his head out of the sewer, you'd be like, okay, why are you down there?
Mm-hmm.
So I did like Tim Curry. Bill Skarsgård, again, that was one of those things where in my memory, I kind of remembered like some things being a bit more. I remembered him being great, and then when I rewatched, I was like, there's moments where it's a bit like they're trying really hard.
Yeah.
I think the only times it really bothers me is in the haunted house when they do like the weird CGI enhanced shaky follow cam as he comes towards the camera thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the one time where I'm like,
Or when he's doing the Russian dancing with the kicks to the side and all that.
oh yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
Underground?
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love that.
It's kind of just like a meme.
Well, it became a meme, yeah, but initially when I first saw it in theaters before it became like
Yeah.
passed around, it was like it's kind of haunting because it's like, I don't know, I felt like it was like him like practicing his mannerisms, like the creature, and like trying to be like, oh look, I'm a fun clown, but like it's just something wrong about him.
Well, see, I took it a completely different way, and we'll talk about it when it comes to Chapter 2, but it was weird how, to me, Chapter 2 was like edging on the verge of explaining why it took on the form of Pennywise, and then it never answers why.
It almost did.
It's like saying like, oh, like we're gonna reveal like who this guy was.
I
and-
heard that they shot the scene and it was like apparently like too much. It was like too disturbing or something. It was too fucked up, and they were like,
Okay.
"Yeah, no."
Interesting. Maybe the maybe it was like the actual Pennywise killing his kid or something.
Yeah,
That's what I assume it would be.
it was that. Yeah,
Oh, that's so funny. I just okay, yeah, no, but I do feel like
from what I've heard, I could be wrong.
that part one bit that with the Russian kicks, I feel like that's kind of setting that up.
Mhm.
But in part two, since it doesn't really answer it, it's like I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that I don't find it scary.
I feel like you two didn't like part 2. I have a funny
What
feeling.
are you talking about?
I have a funny feeling.
So for those of you
I have a
for those
funny-
of you just tuning in, there was Joe and I have refused to share our feelings with Sal because Sal was the first of us to see it and went, "Oh, I love it," and then we were like, "Well, we can't just reveal right away because then."
I feel like this is
You know.
revenge for like me cucking you with the Vivitch.
That wasn't a cuck. The Vivitch was fun. If you haven't watched our Vivitch video, go watch it. It's real good.
So, gentlemen, did you like it?
What did you think of part 2,
did
Nathan?
you dislike it?
No, you know what? Sal, you tell us what you
God,
thought of part
motherfuckers.
2.
Let's get.
You tell what you thought of part 2.
Yes.
I thought.
Aside from like you already kind of said, but like kind of go into detail about.
I think like I thought about it a bit more, and I like part 2.
Mhm.
I don't think it's like the best fucking thing ever. I think it's like competent and fun. I think that they've clearly. There's a bit where they clearly kind of dragged out the plot with the token thing.
Mm-hmm.
And while it is fun, and I do like that we're showing more character, we have more kid stuff, because there is in chapter 1, I always remember it was being so weird that like fucking jarring, like
Right.
the losers break up and there's this like fucking like
Sad montage.
sad MTV montage.
And then it just cuts, and then Beverly's in trouble. Oh.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
What's that? Yeah. And so I always thought that was a bit like jarring.
Needed
And, and,
weird.
and in our rewatch, we definitely were like, I was like, oh, that's way more jarring than I remembered it being.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it fades out and you're like, what? And then it comes back with like a fucking like only time they ever do in the whole now we can say it's series.
Yeah.
This just the non-diegetic just like song playing, and it's just it was real it was weird. And then in chapter 3 they're like, yeah, so things happened in that time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, all the cutscenes? Cool, okay.
Yeah.
Not all of them, because there's clearly because they de-aged the actors to
Yeah.
and I think Ben's the weirdest one
Because he's suddenly taller than
because
everyone.
clearly Ben got a bit thinner and taller,
Yeah.
and they had to kind of like
See, I actually, that funny, Nathan pointed it out, and I didn't even notice that, but it was because I was focusing on other things in the movie, but I'm sure that if I went back, it might be a bit more obvious.
Yeah, because Ben's short as fuck in part
Yeah.
one.
So he had a spurt.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it weird that Mike is I know it's his character, but Mike is now suddenly the history buff when in the first movie it was Ben.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know it's like more accurate to the books, but like it's like the Silent Hill Sound Revelation thing where like follow your own continuity.
It's kind
Even
of
if
funny
you're-
how we like Nathan and I have we're talking about, and like there's certain things where it's like, wait, but that's clearly not in line with part one.
And there's some things that are. There's some things that are like
Sure,
specifically in line with part one.
Yes,
Yeah, because there are some shots where it's like, oh, that is literally a cutscene from part one, and that like, oh, that's really well. But yeah, so overall,
I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It
Right.
has flaws
Mhm.
because it does drag, and while it is a fun drag, I'm like clearly like you can cut this and we'd be
Sure,
okay.
sure.
If it was like a show, I'd be less upsetty about it.
Sure, sure.
Because this was like an episode where it's like, oh hey, this is the token episode. I'd be like, okay, cool, this is fun. But like sticking it in the middle of this 3-hour film is like,
Yeah.
it's a little much, and I think at the end it's like it feels like it could have been cut down. As fun as it is, and I do like long movies, this is definitely a film that could have benefited from some tweaking, some cutting down
Yeah.
of scenes. But overall, I enjoyed all the performances. I think Bill Hader really fucking made this movie great. Bill Hader's my favorite part of this film, to me, because he's just so like.
Sorry.
I think he's really on point, and like, I found myself like laughing really fucking hard,
Mm-hmm.
and then instantly being terrified because the tension built back up again, and it was like, I liked how the film kept me on like the seesaw effect of like,
Sure.
hey, this is scary, and we can make fun of it and have like, you know, to me, like whenever something spooky happens in like the apartment or something, I kind of treat it like with a joke.
Yeah.
And to see like
Yeah,
characters
yeah.
in films kind of like go, like the bit where they're like at the doors. Remember in the first movie when they did the whole scary, not scary, very scary.
yeah, yeah.
I would go like, oh, well, he's fucking with you, going very scary. And then this
Yeah.
one, they were like, okay, he's fucking with us. We have to go to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that whole like,
Yeah.
it is a bit, it's a comic bit,
Mhm.
but like I did enjoy that, and that like, you know, and the bit where he was like, oh yeah, I hope it just turns into some puppy, and the puppy shows up,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, that's so fucking cute. But he's like, I know you're gonna turn into a monster. I fucking know your tricks. And I'm like, this is great, but it's also like, but then when the puppy does turn into a monster, it's still like grotesque. And I'm still like, oh god,
It,
fucking
it
hell.
was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was
And so I
disgusting.
feel like it wrote a good line of like, I feel like it did what Jordan Peele is trying to do, where he's mixing comedy and horror.
Yeah.
But I don't think Jordan Peele is succeeding.
I disagree. Not that Jordan Peele is succeeding. I'm saying that I think it's different. I think Jordan Peele is trying to be a satirical genius,
Yeah.
and that's why I think his comedy isn't awful. It's just that he thinks that he's really smart,
He does.
and I think that's
It's very
like
clear.
I think that's the worst thing.
When I saw Us, I was like, Jesus Christ, you think you're the funniest, you're the fucking smartest shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you're watching a movie and you feel like one of the creative teams is just being incredibly self-indulgent, that's bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because people will be self-indulgent when they think they're doing good, but if it's noticeable, that's bad.
And I do think that, so there was a character change in this movie.
Are you referring to Richie?
Richie being super gay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, the film never said it.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
But he's gay.
Mhm.
They all but said it, because they do this thing where like you know, to steal from other media, in films a protagonist will have like a love interest or be interested in a girl, and that's to show you that they're not gay.
Yes.
right.
It's like the case of the not gays,
Yeah.
RLM calls it. And so in this film they kind of do the opposite, where they, you know, the first kill isn't the girl in like the sheets or whatever, it's like a gay couple.
Mhm.
And you know, Pennywise attacks people who are like feared and afraid, and you know, oh, we're in a small town, I just got the ass kicked out of me, and you know, of course I'm terrified because I'm drowning and my face is puffy. And
Mm.
so yeah, he feeds on fear. And so to see a victim who's like, he doesn't have to work that hard because
Yeah.
they're already at that point,
Yeah.
he can kind of just go, well, I'm back, all right,
Yeah.
fucking dinner just arrived, I guess.
Yeah.
But it also did a thing where it set up in the audience's minds, hey, there are gay people in Derry. And that's what that scene
Yeah.
is saying. The scene is saying, like, listen, people can be gay.
Well, and
Yeah.
to be fair, that is in the book.
That Richie's gay?
Well,
couple?
no, the couple.
Oh, is it really?
That's in the book.
oh, dope.
Okay.
I think it takes it's approximately at the same. Well, I don't remember because the miniseries confused me. I don't know if I don't know if the little girl dies before the couple, but I know the couple dies pretty early on when Pennywise returns
Okay,
in the adult
right.
timeline. So that is from the book. So as soon as it started happening, I'm like, oh, I remember reading about that.
But and it does set that up, and then later on there's the bit where like Pennywise like well, it has the arcade scene where like young Richie and this one kid are playing, and they're having fun. The kid's about to leave, and he goes, hey, wait, we can play one more. And I was like, that boy gay.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, Pennywise is like, you got a secret. That's also after he does his Psychomantis.
Oh yeah, that can I say how surreal it was?
That was weird
to see that like the character Pennywise saying, "You like to play Street Fighter." I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
I want to take the voice clip and put it on Psychomantis when this comes out.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a very good
And
idea.
vice versa.
Yeah, and then you have and now I'm like, oh, interesting. Richie's gay. That's different. I'm okay with this. What are you gonna do with it? Nothing. They do fucking nothing with this bullshit.
Yeah, we were actually going to mention that the fact that at the end, when I really think that Eddie's going to say "I love you," he says "I fucked your mom," and it's like,
and I'm like, ha ha.
But I thought you were setting up that they were the only two who would understand each other.
No, yeah.
It's at that point that Richie understood that when Eddie said, "I fucked your mom," what he
meant was "I love you." I mean, because because
there's a bit where it's R plus E in the thing, and
yeah,
he's super sad that Eddie's dead, but there's a bit where they're in the lake afterwards, and they're washing up, and they're all like, Richie's like fucking breaking down, crying again, and they all kind of like hold him. I thought they were gonna do the bit where like he was gonna say, "I'm gay,"
sure.
And then they all kind of laugh, and he goes, "No, really, like I'm gay."
Sure, yeah.
And that'd be the moment of like, oh, well, he accepted it as a secret, but he let his friends know, and now he's like open about it.
We'll talk about how they could have done what they could have done with that.
Yeah, because I feel like, as someone who is LGBT, to see like a character like be gay, I'm like, oh, fucking sweet, and they're not making like a big deal out of it.
Yeah,
but they also didn't do enough with it.
It felt kind of like hedging the bets.
Yeah, it kind of felt like I'm like, yes, I want to see that kind of go a bit further.
Well, I think the reason it was weird to me is like in the opening scene they didn't shy away from showing two men being intimate.
They did. They showed them kissing. They were like on a date, and they were being nice to like, and it was like, oh, and that's what I thought that like when it happened later. Yeah. I'm like, oh, they're gonna fucking go for it because in the opening, this film opens with two guys on a date, and they're making out. This has to go somewhere.
Which first, I swear to God, because I thought I forgot, so I thought that was one of the losers. So I was immediately like, because I forgot who played who. So I was like, wait, is that like Eddie for some reason? And then I was trying to figure out who they were, and I was like, oh, okay, they're different people.
Yeah,
but I do feel like it is kind of like I get that he's afraid because he's in the closet still. But then there's never the moment when he like comes out of the closet and his friends are like, wait, but we just still love you.
That's what I love.
It's like
at the end, whenever they were in the lake, I'm like, oh, he's gonna say it. And then the fucking movie's over, and I'm like, he didn't say it.
Yeah.
Why set that up to not pay it off? Why have Pennywise say you have a secret, and never have Pennywise reveal it in the middle of like a big thing?
Yeah.
And then have everybody kind of go, oh, well, like whatever. He's our friend.
Yeah.
Like. That could have been an easy like trump card. He could have pulled that whenever they were all like attacking him at the end, saying that they're not afraid. Have Pennywise say, "Richie, I know your secret." He kind of gets scared again. Pennywise can maybe
get
like
some power,
get some power back, and it's like, "No, I'm gay and fuck you," or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Yeah,
sure,
the power of gayness kill Pennywise." I don't know. Like, give me fucking something to nothing.
Yeah.
Give me something, not just I fucked your mom, and yeah, it's funny, and I kind of scoff, but like. I would much rather have a character resolution.
Yeah. To be honest,
because now I'm like, well, was Richie just in love with Eddie, or were they in love with each other?
But they keep it ambiguous because
and it's like, but why not just show it or say it or give us
I don't know. To be honest.
Oh, also the bully coming back was stupid.
Bowers was awful.
Bowers sucked. The actors sucked. Bowers sucked.
So
I thought Henry Bowers looks like a fucking discount Chris Jericho.
So I swear he did. It was really unsettling.
At first I thought it was Chris Jericho.
I kind of did.
And speaking of wrestling, when Pennywise killed the gay guy, Adrian, why did he have him and Sister Abigail?
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
That's asking the real questions.
But I will say this just to quickly knock off one tiny little thing about Bowers. When I was watching the movie and then it flashes back in time to when he shoots out of when he shoots out of the sewer, I legit thought they were saying, "Oh, he didn't age."
Yeah, me too.
I was like,
Same.
"Wait a minute, this is such an interesting way to do it." No, they literally just
no.
randomly cut back and now he's an adult. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
And I'm like, why didn't you show like some sort of like
Anything but that.
anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, director man, Andy something.
Andy Muschietti.
I didn't want to even
Muschietti.
try, guys.
Muschietti?
If you do a director's deluxe cut of 1 and 2 together, can you just move that first half of that scene, the flashback bit, to the back a bit?
Yeah, sure.
So that because
I do
again
Yeah.
because we didn't talk about this.
Sure.
I also thought he came out
Yes.
young.
I was like, "Oh, what an interesting twist." No.
Instead, it was like instead it was like their weird way of revealing how they were going to switch back and forth between flash. Because I think that's
that's because it was so jarring because that was the first time it like full on jumped.
Yeah.
And they were like introducing the concept, and I'm like, "Wait, Bowers is still a kid," and I was like, "No, this is in the past." And I'm like, "Oh."
And that sucks
okay.
because the child actor who played Bowers was really good and disturbing.
and then the adult guy is really like laughable and stupid.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, okay, so yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah, so I didn't like Bowers. They could have
Yeah.
done more with the gay shit. It drags in some places. The tokens
Mhm.
could have been faster. James McAvoy rides Silver for half the movie and doesn't use a car that we know he has. And I'm like,
but he rides Silver, which I thought was his token, and then it's like, no, that he actually gets 2. Okay.
Yeah.
no, yeah. I'm like, when you saw Silver in the shop, I'm like, okay, couldn't take like the bell from the
And the thing is
or like the little piece that says Silver on it.
Yes, and Nathan and I were talking. He's like, "Well, he couldn't have burned that." I'm like, "But Mike didn't tell them they were going to burn it, did he?"
Yeah.
So he didn't
Also,
know.
because there's the inhaler that can't.
Yeah.
They even make jokes about it, which I kind of
Yes.
I found kind of funny. They were like,
I actually, well, okay, I don't want to say that yet. We'll
and
talk about it.
Richie getting an actual token as his token.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it like that.
They made a joke about it.
Yeah, I didn't think
They're
of
like,
it like.
Richie, they mean like an actual token.
Oh, that's true. They did say that.
Yeah.
I didn't that must just not have registered. For me.
Also, Mike's token sucked ass.
Wasn't it just the stone that hit Bowers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did he get that? We'd have to film scenes
Why
with
would-
Mike.
I mean, I would.
Yeah, we have to show Mike scenes. Can't
Yeah,
do that.
no, Mike just is a fucking crazy person and the Old Spice guy.
It's so weird to me how Mike in the first movie is literally a plot device to get the cattle gun, and the second movie is a plot device so that they know what the ritual is. And then as soon as they do he doesn't get a token. Like, we don't see him go on a token quest.
Also, during the last bit where like everyone's having like their own personal adventure in the fucking underground,
he's not.
Mike's just hiding.
He's just hiding, and I'm like, why? Why is?
If you're gonna pad this movie,
Yeah,
just give me Mike scenes.
it's very
But
bizarre.
no, we get him drugging Bill,
Yeah,
and which is great because we got James McAvoy being like, "Did you drug me or something?"
that was such a genuine high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
Well, because like he gave him the water, he sipped it, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's great. He's like, he only took a little, and I was like, yeah, because that's why they had him like funnily sip it just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think that this movie is good. I think I like part 1 more, but I don't think part 2 is bad. I think it's fine. I think that it could be better.
I agree with pretty much everything you said aside from the last part.
Oh yeah, you didn't like it. I fucking knew
Yeah.
it.
So
Y'all two didn't like it,
so,
did you?
So heel turn here. I thought chapter 2 was an actual embarrassing thing to watch and actually kind of painful, and I could barely finish it.
Wow.
I didn't like it.
Holy shit. I knew it.
Imagine so every
I felt
problem you had, we had times like 10.
Yes.
Like everything that didn't work for
Okay.
you was like 10 times worse for us.
Let me try to. So you guys complain about it. Let me try to defend the things I think were good. And then if
Well,
it's
no,
bad, I will own up to it.
Well, we're just going to go scene by scene and no.
So it opens up with the sister Abigail.
Yeah. So my initial reaction was I was like, I was watching.
So first of all, it starts
Yeah.
with the Harley Quinn tease, which is
Yeah.
horrible.
Which is awful and made me think of Suicide Squad, which is not what you want to do when you're semi-rebooting the DC universe.
Yeah.
But
I think it fooled some people for half a second, but I think once DC came up, it was like, oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
clearly.
But it
Clearly.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the movie, and I think the only part that was a bright spot was Ewan McGregor laughing for 5 seconds.
That was actually the best part of that
I was
teaser.
like, ah!
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor Sleep trailer was good.
I like that.
I'm
too.
excited.
Actually, I don't like the trailer. I'm excited for the movie.
I'm excited for the movie.
The trailer's kind of...
Well, yeah, because they reveal so much about the
It
plot.
was probably going to be a weird-ass fucking movie, so to have a trailer for it is kind of like...
It's a weird ass fucking sequel.
Yeah.
It's a very bizarre idea that the villains are like energy vampires that like drain the shining from you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is very jarring when you compare it to the first movie. But,
Yeah. So
but
the
that's
trailer's
Stephen
probably-
King's
yeah.
fault.
So
the
the
first- yeah, go
first
ahead.
scene, we have the gay couple going through the carnival, which I initially liked because I'm also like, yes, I would like more gay couples, but I don't want movies that are like, oh god, we have gay couples, we're so inclusive. But this is like, no, it's a gay couple. They exist.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
having a date. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a gay.
And then they come across the most rednecky of redneck.
Oh my God.
They get bullied by an actual child first, and then
Yeah.
his adult relatives.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't actually tell the gender of that person.
It was very ambiguous for a second.
why was their face so fucked up? Like
he had like
breeding,
pox or something.
I guess.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was weird that we have adult bullies that are like kind of similar to the bullies in part 1 with absolutely no comeuppance.
That
or-
are the boys.
They, like none of them die.
None
It's
of-
so
yeah.
weird how
Yeah,
none of
they're
the
just
bullies.
gone.
I mean, I get like that's the point of Stephen King is like, hey, you beat evil, but you know some form of evil will always endure, and it's like, well, that's reality, that's
Well,
true,
thanks,
but
Stephen.
it's weird that they never showed up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like the scene. Now as I was watching, I was like, oh, the pacing. This is a 3-hour movie. The pacing for this is very slow.
Yeah.
And then for me, that became jarring because as soon as we get the moment where Pennywise kills one of them, and then he disappears in the balloons.
What happens to the other one?
No, Nathan asked about that. He
Yeah.
literally sees him disappear, and then you never see him again. He's just
Yeah.
standing on the show. Pennywise doesn't attack him.
Yeah.
Even though he's afraid.
And like, there's not like a moment where like Mike Hands at the library and like he comes up
No.
and is like, listen, like I know like you've been asking around town about this stuff, but like
Yeah.
I saw something. I saw a clock in my boyfriend.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna die too, and when he didn't, I was like, "Oh, is that gonna like come back now?"
I also can't remember. Is it the one that got killed that was from Derry, or is it the one that
No,
survived?
yeah, the one from Darius survived.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I also just found it weird. So he falls in, freaks out. We have lines setting up. Oh, he can't swim. So I'm like, okay, that's,
Yeah.
And he has an inhaler.
Yeah.
And he has an inhaler.
And he's gay.
And he's gay.
That's what I mean when I was like, for a moment, I was like, "Wait, is this supposed to be like Eddie or something?"
Yeah, he has an inhaler.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
It was really
Again,
cool.
that's more like trying to subtly tell you, like, "Oh, hey, consider the fact that Eddie might be have these feelings in him or whatever."
Mhm.
But anyway,
I thought it was weird that the guy didn't just like jump off. Like I get jumping off a bridge. is
it wasn't
scary.
that tall.
It wasn't that tall. And
But,
and in my memory, I forgot that they had the line, "Oh, he can't swim." So
Yeah.
when I remember him in the river, I'm like, "Why are you freaking out and flailing and doing nothing?"
Well, his face
But-
was like punched in, so you can't see.
Sure.
And he has asthma.
And he has
And
asthma.
he's gay.
And he's gay.
So Mike Hanlon. No, so Mike Hanlon's there and sees the. Is this when he sees the message?
Yes.
So he
And,
so.
so he
Yeah.
finds a balloon that's deflated that says "I love Derry" and is immediately suspicious.
Is it? And what was weird was that he never saw that balloon. That was the bully who died.
That was Patrick Hockstetter.
That was Patrick in part 1, and I was like, wait, okay, never mind.
I guess maybe it's a red balloon.
yeah.
Let's just. Here.
I mean, he looks at the carnival, so I'm like, oh, maybe he is like second guessing himself. But then he sees the message and
come
like,
home.
come on.
Yeah, but then okay,
yeah,
so,
and that's why it's written in blood on the thing. Yeah.
so I like the first scene. My problem is that it's extremely slow paced for a scene with characters we don't know.
Mhm.
And then as soon as we start getting introduced to the losers, I feel like this movie is moving at a breakneck fucking pace to make sure
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all in Derry.
Oh
like,
yeah,
within
no.
20
The
minutes.
fact that like they get to the Chinese restaurant so
Yes.
fast, I was like, "Whoa, we're
It-
here now."
it was actually kind of jarring for me because there's certain. So I know this is a sequel,
Mm.
but I still like the thing I like about the miniseries is yes, the pacing is slower, and you can say it drags in the miniseries, but I get like a great idea of who the character, how different they are.
Mm.
But there's some characters where I'm like, I don't really know how different you are. You seem kind of the same to me.
Yeah, like I cut out some of the token shit and put in some of them like
Yeah.
living their lives, and then they get a phone call.
Because remember how Bill's wife never comes back?
Oh my god!
Like they give him a wife just for the one scene, and she's not even at the ending when he's like writing the
No.
new book, and I'm like, what? Why? Why is she here?
Yeah.
because like I mean I'm not saying I wanted the whole plot of her getting kidnapped like Beverly was in the first movie, but I'm saying like the fact that nothing happens with her was like really weird.
Yeah. I also so
They have good transitions though.
Oh no, I the aside from the pacing of some of the token stuff, the transitions and editing are good.
Yeah. Also, so I don't know if you people are, if you're unaware of Stephen King, a lot of people don't like his endings. And if you don't know that, this movie will tell you, and it will say, "Oh, it was really good, but the ending sucked." And I was like, that was somewhat annoying the first time. It was really annoying the second time, and I actively wanted to kill myself every other time after
The
that.
moment where I was like, I kind of cringed and kind of facepalmed was when Stephen King said it.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, okay, yeah, Bill's a writer, but like his endings suck. And I'm like, well, that's like, all right, that's okay.
Yeah. The first reference is like, well, he's a Stephen King insert kind of, so it's a good,
Yeah.
you know, like
He's not Richard Bachman.
no, he's not Richard Bachman, but
So at first I'm like, it's fine. But then when Stephen King was like, no, at the ending, I'm like, oh, this was to facilitate that joke.
And even
well, it wasn't even to facilitate that. It was also them saying like, hey, if you don't like our ending, it doesn't matter because we said the endings are bad.
That's like in X-Men Apocalypse. When they were like, yeah, the third film's always suck.
Yeah, that is like X-Men Apocalypse, yeah.
And it's also, like, even if that wasn't Stephen King, that would be awful, because, like, who meets a celebrity and goes, hey, I love your work, but you suck at endings.
See, if it wasn't Stephen King, but like a disgruntled old man, I could see it.
Yeah.
Let me
As
tell you,
as like he's just an asshole to anybody. It's like, yeah, you're a fancy writer. I don't give a fuck.
let me tell you what the Stephen King moment, which is far ahead in the movie, but let me tell you what that
It
moment
relates.
Let me tell you what that moment crystallized for me. The movie is far too self-aware.
Yes.
It's like they made it chapter 1 and they were like, we want to make a good movie. And then it made like the most money of any R-rated horror film ever.
Yeah.
Like it just like destroyed, and like they were like, oh, and they were just like, oh, look how fucking good we are. Like we made it chapter 1. Now we're gonna refer to all like the moments that people remember from chapter 1, like the door scene, and then Pennywise says time to sink instead of time to float. And
Oh yeah, that was kind of. I was like, that's not what you say.
yeah, and then like, oh, Stephen King's there, and oh, we're referencing how Stephen King's endings are. Like, it was more referential than the Dark Tower movie, and I'm like, how is that the case? Like, it was just I think that contributed to like my feelings of like disassociation, because it felt like they were doing like a victory lap of, oh, we made like the biggest R-rated horror films of all time, and we adapted the unfilmable It, and isn't it great how like we're the best Stephen King movie ever, and like,
And it's like, I mean,
that's just how it felt. Whereas like part 1, they were like very humble because they're like, hey, you know, like yes,
we don't know
have
if this is gonna work.
we don't know if we'll get a part 2, even though we, you know, call it chapter 1. It's more of like, please give us, you know. So that Stephen King bit was just kind of like, it's not that I don't like to see you, Stephen King, but you're already like self-referential, and I know that like if you're making a movie in the Stephen Kingiverse, yes. By law, because I was telling Nathan, in the fucking book,
right in the SKU. Go on.
yes, in the SKU, there is the scene where, you know, Bowers, how he gets driven around in scenes in this movie by his zombie friend.
Yeah.
In the original book, that car is Christine from the story Christine, and is just driving him around because it's evil, and takes him to go kill people and so it's like that's in the DNA of it. It's just that the first movie
I did like
have.
Zombie Valet.
No, I didn't really like that, but anyway,
circling
Yeah,
back
circling
to
back.
the montage of recollecting the losers. I think the other. I don't like Bills. I thought
Bills. Okay, I thought you said
Bills.
that.
I enjoyed it because I just enjoy watching James McAvoy.
Well, yeah, I love
and-
his performance.
I think his was one of the better ones.
Yes, I think his.
I think like so a lot of this stuff I'm going to talk about like my in the moment reaction,
Sure.
and then where I see it in the terms of like the whole thing, like the opening
Of course.
scene. When I was watching it, I'm like, this is fucking great.
And I agree.
This is really cool. Then afterwards, I'm like, well, the boyfriend never comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is all to facilitate the fact that Richie's gay, which goes nowhere.
And the little girl is there so that later on she can get killed to no purpose, because that goes nowhere.
That is the same little girl.
Yes, no, Nathan had to tell me this. He's like, and remember, he gives the little girl the thing, and then Pennywise, for some reason, is just like, you're gay, I'm gonna kill everything you touched. Like, every person you interacted with, I'm just gonna kill
Except
them.
the bullies.
Except
Well,
the
yes.
boyfriend.
Except the boyfriend. But like, again, and like, he kills the little girl, and Mike Hanlon never brings it up, as far as I'm aware. Like, it never goes anywhere.
Mike Hanlon can't bring it up because he doesn't have scenes, Josiah.
I know, it's just...
And if you notice, Mike Hanlon speaks so fast because he only has so much time in every scene to have dialogue.
They're like, Isaiah Mustafa, like, you're giving a great performance, but, tapping watch.
This is a 3-hour movie.
All of his scenes were the last film. They were like, we got to get out of here. Like, we're
That would
on
make
set.
so much fucking sense if he was the last person filmed separate from everybody else.
Yeah.
That would literally... That's canon.
I
It
believe
kind of makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
but back to the opening. So Bev. So I was talking to Joe about this. Admittedly, I'm not an expert on abusive marriages.
I thought you were going to say I'm not an expert on Jessica Chastain. I'm like, well, you're not.
I'm not. I'm not that either. But so what was the nature of the abusive relationship she had with her husband? Because first he's like trying to be emotionally manipulative. When that's not working, he becomes physically threatening. When that's not working, he's about to rape her, and then she leaves because they only have 60 seconds.
Everything is different. Every abusive relationship is complicated and
Sure.
nuanced to a degree. And I think that like what I find cool about this opening stuff is like how Bev's with an abuser like her dad.
Mhm.
Eddie's with someone who's just like his mom, played by the character.
That was very disturbing. I didn't
Yeah.
like that.
Richie's just a comedian and just, fucking a loner.
Mm.
Stanley's a fucking, I don't know.
Stanley is...
I almost said something really bad.
He's Jewish.
I was gonna say Stanley's just a fucking Jew.
It's true. I mean,
That's
it's not
kind of all he
incorrect.
does. And like, yeah, and Ben's hot now. Which I
There was a half second where when they were introducing Ben, where like they purposely show the guy who kind of looks like grown up Ben,
Yeah.
and for a second I was like, oh, they're saying that like they're gonna deny the whole Bev falls in love with him now that he's hot criticism and make it, oh no, he's still fat and Bev still loves him, because I didn't know who the actor was, and I didn't look at his picture, so I was like, oh, interesting, and then it was like, fooled you.
no. Ben's jacked and hot. But I found what cool about a lot of those scenes is that like it's about like a lot of people kind of revert back to their older selves. Like, yeah, they defeated the great evil,
Yeah.
but like time and distance, and you kind of who you are no matter what, or like they haven't really changed as people yet,
Mhm.
and it's kind of sad, but also kind of great.
I understand.
I wish there was more time with it. Though.
Yeah. Yes.
So I see what they're trying to do, but just like
I
I
think.
wanted like 10
Yeah.
extra minutes.
Yeah, I wanted 10 extra minutes, because I think what Nathan was saying about the Bev thing, because we watched the miniseries, so like the pacing of the way they handle like specifically Bev in the miniseries is you get like 3 scenes with the abusive husband, and so each one he gets worse because he's getting into more and more conflict.
Whereas
with
in
her.
this one, it's each shot he gets worse.
Yes, because they have to compress it into one scene.
But they
and
don't have to.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah.
I think it's a flaw of the movie, the fact that like this Jessica Chastain's an amazing actress in this movie too, and like that scene is literally like he just jumps because they have to compress the whole arc of her kind of accepting it, still trying to accept it, and then having enough is enough because it's her father again, and then she leaves him and puts the ring out, and then just he's never comes back. It's never. I mean, I don't.
He shows up for like half a second at the end when they're banging on the bathroom door.
Yes, I understand this, but but my point is that's like.
But I kind of forgot who he was for a second. I was like, who's like? Oh, it's probably his wife.
Yeah, like
that didn't even register for me. So,
well, we'll talk about the one thing on it. But anyway,
So yeah, I mean, I like again just more time. I'm liking what I'm seeing, just more time because like the fact that like Stan's suicide happened so fast.
yeah.
I was
like literally between cuts.
not to mention,
There's no build.
I mean, thank God it's not 13 Reasons Why we show it, but
I think it was shot shittily though, because the expression on the corpse face and the fact that it's like, oh, you can't see his wrist, so it's not distasteful.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think the
people were laughing.
were they laughing?
They kind of did. No, the audience was very interesting because they at times were doing exactly what I was thinking, and other times they were annoying the piss out of me.
Yes.
And but neither helped. But yeah. So like Stan's death is like, I thought we were gonna get something like
Anything?
He hears because the little boy talks about voices from the drain and the tub, and then I thought before I even saw the movie, like, oh, Stan's gonna hear Pennywise whisper something from the drain, and then he kills himself because, or maybe like the orange light comes out of the fucking tub, and then he's like, oh, I can't face the deadlights or whatever. But they just kind of go, and he's dead, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even get to know you.
I will say, thinking about it, cutting out the stupid vomit shot, I think that Richie actually has one of the best because we don't see him before he gets the call. His scene starts and he has received the call, and we just have him
really liked
disturbed.
his scene.
Like it fucks up his comic show, and I'm like, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, I thought that was very effective.
But then you have something like Eddie's, where it's like, he got in the car
he called her
accident.
mommy.
Yeah.
Well, see here. I think what I told Nathan was if he didn't call her mommy and it was the same actress, or if it was a different actress and called her mommy, then it wouldn't be quite as like.
I agree. And he said mommy, I was like, oh, I kind of like that I figured it out on my own. You know?
Yeah, because I got the joke.
I kind of wanted to be a cool, like, hey, like, if you didn't notice that, like, on a fucking, like, Watch Mojo video.
Sure. And again, that's not like that bit's not like a critical problem. That's a nitpick, but it's still.
So you can cut that out.
But I just mean that like the opening is so fucking fast.
It starts so slow, and then it gets so fast.
Yeah. And they're immediately at the Chinese place.
It then slows back down.
Yes.
It's really weird.
It is weird because, again, I understand that I'm supposed to have, like, the knowledge of It Chapter 1. But approaching this from, like, these characters have reverted a little bit. I want to, like, get to know them more before they decide to go back.
Yeah, because, they kind of do reflect their kid selves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're different people still, because they have grown and morphed.
Sure, yeah.
Also, shout out to Ben in his Skype call having like a buttoned up shirt and a jacket and then jammies.
That was
too
really
real.
I was
Also, so why was it when they got the call, Bill was the only one that like went, my hand where I got cut, and then we don't see anyone's hands except for I think Babs looks at it.
And then Nathan were like, please tell us that was not like budgetary. They didn't want to put the makeup on.
We never did see the scar.
No. Yeah.
That was not good.
Throw Ragnarok all over again.
If we give
if you don't know what we're talking, do you want to be the one?
If we give Doctor Strange his gloves, we don't have to have Benedict Cumberbatch in makeup, and we can shoot all his scenes in like an hour.
What? He doesn't wear the gloves in Infinity War Endgame? Go fuck yourself.
Weird. So I will say, to my memory, I thought them meeting up at the restaurant, albeit rushed. I think that scene, their interactions, they're like starting to remember. I think all of that was pretty good.
It was good except for Eddie saying fuck every 10 seconds.
I do think the amount of fucks in this movie was magnitude stupid.
Well, I was gonna say, so out of all of the losers, Eddie feels like he got brought on at the last minute, watched the first movie, and like studied the kid actor's mannerisms really close, and was just playing like young Eddie, but he was an adult.
They were very good. Do we want to talk about casting for a minute?
I think so.
I think to sidetrack now to casting?
Because I think going off what Nathan said, it reminded me of Star Trek 2009, where like clearly, Bones is just basically doing DeForest Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then Chris Pine's not doing William Shatner. So to me, that was like where like Eddie, he was like a dead fucking ringer.
He was great.
For the kid. Like I could
They look alike.
And he's the one where they morph the faces together too. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They don't do that with anybody else.
It wasn't as good as Mandy, but it was all right.
It did remind me of Mandy. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it and I was like, Mandy.
It was a great shot, and I was like, that. I think that's what you're talking about. Where for me, that's where it's cinched. Like he is like a dead fucking ringer.
It was also weird to me.
Stanley, even though he was there for 10 seconds, was also very.
Yeah,
looks
very much like him.
Yeah.
It was weird to me that they make fun of Henry Bauer's mohawk when they all have pretty much the exact same hairstyle as their younger selves.
But it's kind of like their hairstyles in the 80s. We still have them now. Yeah, you meant mullet, but
we'll get to the stupid fucking Henry Bauer scene.
Yeah,
I want to talk about it. I'm with you.
I don't think you can. I'm convinced now. Any adaptation of it, Henry Bowers will never be like good.
No.
But so losers,
adult
losers. James McAvoy, really really good.
So James McAvoy is a good actor.
Mm.
His stutter's great because it's James McAvoy and he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of looking like his kid counterpart, not at all.
Not really.
Not at all. But it's James McAvoy, so I don't. I kind of don't.
Which is ironic because he's the only one who gets a scene in acting against his younger self.
Which was cool, and I wanted more of that.
Nathan and I said that, like, why didn't in all the Visions they face their younger selves so you could use all the young actors?
I think they did that literally because the respective Bills are like the best actors of their kid groups. So,
I'd say Bev.
Kid Bev is great.
Kid Bev is the best.
That's true. Well, but the stutter's really.
Well, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying he's great.
He's great.
Young Bill is great. I'm just saying, like,
it's
I
close.
agree.
It's close.
Speaking of Bev, Jessica Chastain, I haven't liked her in anything until this movie. I think this was one of her best performances I've ever seen.
To be fair, yeah, and for,
I don't know her from a lot. I know she's an actress. I know she's in movies, but I don't know her from a lot.
I've seen her more than either of you. But again, like, I was talking to Nathan going through the ones he had seen. I'm like, yeah, she's okay in Interstellar.
Oh my god, she's in Interstellar.
She's the adult Murph. She's consistently playing older versions of younger, like, brilliant actresses.
Yeah.
I also kind of wanted Amy Adams to play older Bev though.
Yeah, I think a lot of people.
Also, because in the HBO show Sharp Objects, young Bev plays a young version of Amy Adams' character, and it's really good. So I kind of wanted that again.
I think the argument was that Amy Adams is a little bit older than all the rest.
I don't give a fuck.
Makeup is amazing.
Ben's actor was so young. His adult one in comparison.
Yeah.
Like, come the fuck on now.
Yeah.
Like, you have fucking, like, Bill and fucking Richie aging. Like, they have gray hair, clearly. They have Ben, who's, like, fucking ripped as shit.
Yeah.
And young as fuck. And it's like...
Ben, I think, was, like, the least. And I know that's the point, because he is jacked and he has a beard.
I will disagree.
What?
Older Ben and younger Ben, their faces, their structure, like their eyes.
Okay.
Man, they look.
I see the eyes. They have those like small dark eyes.
They look like because it's that's kind of how I like it because I like how their eyes are similar. But yeah, older Ben is clearly he had a body transformation, but like his eyes and kind of his face structure is still fairly similar.
And I think his kind of the way he like paced his lines was definitely like younger Ben.
Yeah.
And that might be, I mean, it might be how they wrote the lines or directed them, but I do feel like he was definitely capturing at least the pacing of the character.
I do think that Ben's actor is the least standout.
Yes, I was going to say he's very unremarkable.
But he's good.
Yeah, he's
not bad.
He's not bad.
He's not Henry Bowers.
We'll get to him.
So then we have Mike, who is... I think Isaiah Mustafa is really good.
I think he's fucking great.
I just want more scenes with him.
Yeah, I remember it was he's the Old Spice guy. But he was great.
He was great. He was so good.
Which is what made me upset that he didn't get more scenes.
No, like Mike's like crazed. Like I have to stop him.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, Mike's a character, and then he didn't have his scenes or lines, and I was like, well, that was nice. That was a beautiful line.
I feel like he also like chubbed up just a little bit because his face was a little rounder, like
clearly
his
a librarian.
Well, because and then also
he's
because
jacked as shit. I watched the Old Spice commercials.
Because the younger Mike too is a bit rounder in his cheeks.
Yeah.
So they definitely did that.
No, but Mike was great.
We talked about Eddie. Eddie is
dead right.
Eddie's on point.
Yeah.
Stanley was you had one scene and
then Richie. Bill Hader has the same energy as Finn Wolfhard,
but
although
way funnier.
Yeah, well, he's Bill
Hader.
Bill Hader knows how, like yeah. No offense to Finn, but Bill Hader knows how.
Finn will grow into it. He's a kid. I think. I think if Finn Wolfhard keeps it up, he could become Bill Hader.
Or
Seth Green.
Yeah,
Seth Green.
Yeah, I think his deliveries were a lot better, and I liked his humor more than Richie's in the first movie. But I think this movie suffered from a critical overdose of comedy.
Yeah, I will say that while I enjoyed the jokes, I do think maybe cutting some of that would be fine.
I mean, again, it's the swear word of the house, but it did. I remember halfway through the movie where I turned to Nathan and said, "This is literally 3 hours because they couldn't cut any of these jokes." Which is the Thor Ragnarok thing.
Yeah. But what this has that Thor Ragnarok doesn't is good jokes. Because in Thor Ragnarok, when they're like, oh, we added all the jokes, they were too good. I'm like, but they weren't though. Whereas in It Chapter 2, it's like, these jokes are good. You can cut them.
I'd say the difference.
I still cut them.
I say the difference is that in Thor Ragnarok, that's a trash film because it wants to be trash.
Yeah.
But it thinks it is not. But it's a trashy film, so the comedy it's bad. Whereas in this movie, because it's trying to like be unsettling, the comedy, while better by far, is more jarring.
Yeah. I did like, though, whenever Richie started to get, like, serious.
I loved when he got
Because
serious.
there's a bit where, like, Eddie, like, had to get hyped up, and she's like, hey, man, you're the one who did all these things, and, like, he didn't make a joke, and I was like, wow, this, like, kind of means a lot right now to me. Because, like, he's not telling a joke. He's not being his, like, schizo, weird, jokey self. He had an honest moment, and I think, like, after all the joking, to see him, like, stop right before they go down to the fucking depths of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, it kind of hit me hard.
See, I liked the build-up to the ritual, and I liked the actual ritual itself. I'll talk about what I felt about after that, I think the character stuff, the way... I thought the comedy at the ritual was more natural to me than throughout the rest of the movie, because...
It helps that they're all together.
Yeah. It helps that they're all together, and it helps that the comedy in that scene was definitely, like... I don't know what it is. Like, the way they were talking about, like, you can't burn a rock. Like, it was more funny, not because they were trying to acknowledge the fact that the ritual was, like, silly, quote unquote. It was more like an honest reaction because there was nothing trying to scare them at that point.
And also, it felt like friends
dicking around.
Yeah, that scene is where the comedy was dialogue as opposed to a series of one-liners that are being told to each other.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
But, so, got all the characters out.
Oh, we didn't get Bowers out of the way.
Back to the...
We're not going to fucking get the Bowers.
Okay, we'll get to Bowers.
So, again, I thought the restaurant scene was really good. I thought it took a huge nosedive when they start getting one-letter fortune cookies. They're like, oh, what's the order? Could guess, I guess...
And they're all overlapping, and then, like, but no one asked Bev what hers is.
Yeah, because they can count, right? They know that there's, like, 6 and not...
Well,
sorry, 5 and not 6.
I thought it'd be cool if, like... So what I wanted out of that scene is, well, A, less overlapping fucking rambling dialogue, but also, like... It'd be cool if, like, they all had the words, but, like, then they looked in the bowl, and there was, like, one left.
Oh, okay.
For Stan.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Because they ordered for X amount of people.
Yeah, that...
And then it said...
I'm surprised they didn't do that. Like, Stanley's fortune would be his name.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, I get it. Yeah. And then I liked the horrific abominations that came out of the horror.
Oh, God.
I thought that was, like, really quality creature design.
That was good.
And then I love how they just smash them, because they're like adults and they're like, if I see something that looks like that, I'm just gonna fucking kill it. Like Mike just like smashes the table.
I think it went on for a little too long.
Oh, sure.
I think it showed what became the main problem with the scare and comedy with me is if you let it go on too long, they're jump scares. We know they're jump scares. If you jump scare an adult, they don't get scared, they get startled. And Pennywise is trying to scare them because he feeds on fear. So showing that it is ineffective so early on is like...
It's. I'm not sure if the movie's doing that on purpose.
Oh, it's not.
It's hard. It works. It just works.
It works.
But then he smashes the table. Mike does, and then it does the hey, can we get the check? And the Chinese lady's like, oh, he smashed the table.
I did like the bit where the kid like says the line back to Richie. Like his comedy line, and
which line?
I forget. I forget what the kid says. It's something that's kind of like it sounds a bit haunting.
Yeah,
and
time to laugh or something like.
And Richie's like yelling at him and freaking out.
Oh, you mean the little kid? Yeah. Sorry, for some reason when you said it, I thought you meant like one of the bugs said it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And the kid's like, from your show, dude, your line. He's like, oh, you want an autograph?
And then that's the kid who...
And this kid shows back up again like 5 or 8 more times.
I kind of found that weird as an intro to him, because then he gets another intro with Bill later, and he's Bill's conflict.
It's weird that he's Bill's conflict when he gets introduced to Richie.
I feel like they had that joke, and they wanted to do that joke really bad, and they were like, well, to make it more legitimate, we'll bring the kid back who shows up later, and he'll be the one who says he's his fan, even though that doesn't play in at all.
Or even the inverse where they have the other stuff with the kid, and they're like, hey... He's on set for one more day. What if we just have him do that?
Well, it's because the wife's not in the plot. They need that to motivate Bill.
Yeah.
Because it's like I thought it was that. Well, Nathan thought it was the same actor as
Georgie.
as Georgie, but I think it just looks
I kind of wish they had done that.
I mean, I think I looked it up and it wasn't. If it's not, it's not. Looks really like him. You know,
also, so something I thought about a little later. I don't think I even discussed it with you.
Sure.
So they all meet up at the restaurant.
Yeah.
They get freaked out. They all decide to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that all or most of them are staying at the same hotel.
That was very again.
I guess they didn't bump into each other.
No, they just
before,
coincidentally didn't.
and all of them just, and it feels like they are like.
Also, no one works at this hotel.
No one works at that hotel.
Yeah,
no one's at the bar. No one's at the front desk.
I kind of just. But the whole movie does that. Derry is empty.
There's so many shots of them.
So many shots of them in empty streets, and it's like, is the movie trying to say that like most of the population is gone? But then they have the carnival scene where it's bigger than ever.
They're all at the carnival. The entire population of Derry is at the carnival.
I wish that had been like
all day.
I wish that had actually been explicit. I don't know if you're joking, but if you're not joking, I wish that had been like
I am joking.
I was gonna say that.
Okay.
I'm fucking with you.
No, I get it, but like that could like think about it. That could have been
I'm trying to trick you.
I'm trying to trick you. I wish that had been like an actual plot point, like Pennywise. Like they notice, like, have you noticed nobody's around, and then the carnival's just always.
I wanted more out of that fucking carnival.
They spend so much time setting it up, and then you get the mirror scene,
and that's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
And at first, I was wondering, like,
that's it.
That's it. I mean, because I know they have to go to the same house as in the first movie, but there was a moment where I thought maybe they go underground under the carnival, or I even thought maybe the carnival was where the whole old house was. Not that would make total sense, but I could almost see it. I think you maybe could have merged that where you do like an Eldritch thing where they go to the carnival and then the house is just like in the center of it for no reason, and you're like, that's weird. But anyway.
Yeah, some town fuckery.
Some rearranging of Derry. But we have them leaving the restaurant, all deciding to leave. For some reason, they whenever they decide to leave, they decide they all have to leave together. They can't just run off.
No, not initially. There's this weird thing later on where Richie refuses to leave unless other people leave, and I'm like, why? Yeah. Why are you saying that? This is. But no, initially they are going their separate ways. They're just gonna get the fuck out of town.
I mean, I guess there could be just one inn or town or hotel in Derry.
Yeah, no, it makes sense they're going back. I mean, what Nathan's saying, they don't have that attitude. It would have been
cool if we had more scenes with the adults where maybe Richie goes to the hotel and checks in before the Chinese restaurant scene.
Sure.
And there's some creepy desk clerk and they're like,
we get the library scene where you're too old to stop me.
Oh yeah. Waha.
And then the desk clerk would be like, oh, you want a room? No one's been here for ages. No one comes through Derry. Oh, I highly doubt that, but all right.
He's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. What does that sign with the population on it mean then?
Yeah,
and they could have and then he could have bumped into Eddie showing up, they could have had a scene. I don't know, establishing their fucking gayness, maybe, or something, anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, for fuck's sake, man.
Yeah, but so Bev has had dreams. Dreams that they all die.
The future. She saw the deadlights.
The possible future.
The possible future.
And yes. But she sees the deadlights in the first movie.
Yeah.
And that allows her, which makes sense because they're beyond time.
Sure.
So she gets to see beyond time into the future, and she says that, I don't know if this is now or way later on, but she mentions that if they don't kill it now, something bad is going to happen to all of them.
It is in the hotel.
It's at the hotel. I think it's when so what happens is she's freaking out and decides to call Stanley's wife, or should call Stanley, gets his wife, gets the revelation that he's dead, which I thought the dialogue was really bad for that. That didn't sound like if someone calls you and is like, hey, I'm friends with Stanley. Oh, he died. It just pace a little too quick. And the fact that it was immediately just oh, how did it happen? Oh, suicide in the tub. And it was Ben realizing that she said it first. And then they go to the hotel and he tries to figure it out. And that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But all the losers decide to leave, but Mike has convinced Bill to hear him out.
Yeah.
They go back to the library.
Which was great. I liked that scene. I liked all the stuff with Bill and Mike together.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Even up to the ending of the movie. I liked the Bill-Mike dynamic.
Yeah, because Bill's I'm willing to hear you out. Yeah. This has been kind of wackadoodle, but I mean...
I also feel it was really interesting because there's 2 or 3 scenes where it looks like Bill's stutter is going to gradually come back, where he'll like stutter once and then he'll do a couple sentences and he's fine, then he stammers a little, and it looks like it's building, and then it's just no, he just stammers all the time.
I think that's an editing thing.
I think so too.
I honestly think they rearranged some scenes, and then it was like, oh well, he's stuttering full on now, because there's bits where he's like stuttering, and I know it's because like stuff's affecting him more.
Yeah.
So I can accept it as that, but it might be that as like what it is.
Oh,
And so he goes to the library, and then we get this great scene where Mike is like, "Oh, look at this artifact I got. I stole it from Native. You stole it from Native Americans?"
That was really fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then he drugs his drink, and you get this bit where James McAvoy just goes like slurps up like one sip, and then he just starts tripping major fucking balls and seeing Native American faces melting, and Mike saying like, "Yeah, they tried to stop him and they sealed him, and then they kind of live outside Derry." And then I think you and I talked about like, well. I think you and I talked about how the revelation that the ritual failed is kind of a little silly because it still wakes up every 27 years anyway.
Yeah.
So how good is the sealing? Was he implying that he just could do whatever he wanted unlimited amount of times and then...
and then at the end, Mike's like, they didn't believe enough.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
Also, so that's well, as long as we're talking about the ritual, let's.
I love that we're all having our breakdown moments.
Yeah.
uh,
So can I just say,
No.
Mike's a fucking asshole because he's
Yeah.
like, oh, we have to do this ritual. We all have to get our relics alone.
Alone.
It's really important. It's very personal.
And Rich
then
is like, no, we don't. It's stupid.
yeah.
and then just at the end, it's like, oh, it was bullshit. But
Yeah,
I
relics
thought
didn't mean
I
anything.
thought the power of belief would do it. And it's like, so why didn't
The fact that
why
like
did we have
half
a
the
fetch
movie is
quest?
getting the tokens.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
so
doesn't-
unnecessary.
And it doesn't mean anything. It's kind of like,
It just puts Mike in such a bad light because I was like willing because his logic of, well, if we believe then it's fine. I'm like, why couldn't they just believe that together they can find the tokens? There's
Yes.
nothing that prevents the psychic belief.
even Pennywise is like, the tokens are gazebos.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
forgot that?
No, I missed that.
No, he was like, what's the word, Eddie? Gazebos?
Yeah,
It's
that.
like, it's funny. I
Yeah.
thought it was stupid in part one when
see,
he said
see,
gazebos.
you say that, and I consciously processed that, but he was speaking like in such a way where I didn't completely understand what he said, and I almost turned to you and said, "What did he say?" So I didn't even hear. I heard it, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was a callback to the joke in part one that I
Yeah.
thought wasn't good.
So the girl calls them placebos, and he's like, what's a placebo? Placebo means bullshit. And later on with his mom,
Yeah.
he throws him down and he's like, they're gazebos, they're
They're
bullshit.
But
Which is weird because
so
he's like a smart person.
why? So tell me why the ritual of Chud or Chold, whatever it is, doesn't work because it's bullshit. But even though they all believe, but then later they believe they can beat Pennywise and they do.
They have to. Okay, listen. Alright, so
okay.
the ritual of Chud is bullshit, but this other Native American saying
Yeah.
where
okay.
if the form the being inhabits,
It must abide by the
It must
rules.
abide
of
by its
form or
rules.
whatever.
and which I guess yeah, because like the ritual of Chud is like it should have worked technically.
I mean, I would have been fine with it if
If the power of belief is what saves the day,
Yeah.
and kills Pennywise, it stands to reason that if I say, all right, I believe with all my fucking heart that if I perform this ritual,
Yeah.
he will die,
yeah.
then it should work.
It should.
Or at the least just weaken him, because I could buy that, like, oh, since Mike is aware that it's a lie, he doesn't fully believe. And so that way it like can't fully be completed. But then at the end, he's like, no, I truly believe that this will work. And so,
How it should have happened is that you have the ritual of Chud. It doesn't work.
right.
And then they have the whole big 45-minute attack sequence.
Yeah, it was very long.
And then they have him and they back him into a corner.
Yeah.
They take out his heart. And I thought they were going to put it in the fucking thing.
Oh, so it had to be his heart that got... that makes sense.
And that's Pennywise's token or some bullshit.
Oh.
But no, it just evaporates and he's
Interesting.
gone. And I'm like, but...
And the deadlights turn into smoke.
And I'm like, but you could have into the thing and it could have...
Also,
Okay.
I mean, it's jumping ahead, but why are the deadlights outside of his body this time, whereas in the first movie they never did that and were just inside his mouth?
because these are the ultra deadlights.
I mean, I get that because they turn blue, but I didn't know what that meant.
They're the ultra dead lights, but then it gets turned on Richie, and as soon as it's off, he's fine.
He doesn't need to get kissed. He doesn't need to get kissed by Richie. Or sorry, Eddie doesn't need to kiss Richie to wake him up. And I'm like, and then when Nathan mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah, they should have totally done that.
They should have done that.
Because I thought the kiss was dumb in part 1, but it's established so they can use it in part 2.
It's a rule, so you can use it.
Though I did enjoy Richie like taunting Pennywise, then he gets hit with the deadlights and just gets fucking limp and just I was like, oh, gone.
Yeah.
So before we delve into the respective fetch quests, because I don't remember when this happens. So the little girl getting eaten by Pennywise. Yeah.
It happens before they explain the ritual.
Yes. So before the library scene.
So what happens is everybody is leaving the Jade Dynasty, whatever, and then Bill and Mike are outside, and Bill's like, "This is dumb." Mike's like, "I'm gonna show you one thing," and then it cuts to the baseball game.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then after the little girl gets fucking killed, and then it goes back, and then we have So I want to say that little girl scene made me really fucking uncomfortable, and like really kind of like
because it was like in your mind you saw it as like the way a predator would lure a child.
Yeah,
like way more than the Georgie scene.
It really fucking got to me. Like, to the point where I actually couldn't watch the screen fully because I was like actually physically uncomfortable by it.
I'd say that like because the Georgie scene is supposed to like originally in the 50s, like the way King wrote it, because they adapt it pretty directly, it was written for the 50s. So in the 50s, that's the way you could lure a child.
Yeah.
Whereas in the modern day, you're a bit more wise, so it's weird. Like, it's disturbing how Pennywise acts like a modern day child predator.
Yeah, and so because also with the Georgie scene, I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, sure.
But it kind of made me feel like how I felt when I watched it when I was a kid, where it was like, oh god.
Well, I'm glad you felt that. That's really cool.
This is unsettling. This is wrong. Oh my god. And like just, there's a moment where she like almost leaves, and I'm like, oh great, and then she has lured back, and it was really, even thinking about it, it really kind of like got to me. See, it really fucked me up.
I think that's beautiful that you experienced the same emotion you felt with the miniseries Georgie scene from your youth.
Yeah.
The only thing
where I didn't know what was going to happen as a kid, because I was like, what the fuck is this movie about a fucking clown? I don't fucking know. I'm from fucking New York.
I'm from fucking New York. I agree. I just think that the way it ends is kind of dumb.
Yes.
The way that they kind of make it a joke, that she's like, you're supposed to say, and then he bites her head off. I'm like, that's...
I don't think it was a joke.
It
felt I didn't take it like that.
I was about to say it as a joke, and then it happened, and I was like, "That's."
I think I don't know.
When I see that as like Pennywise making them wait, and then making them kind of like start to experience fear.
But she doesn't. The way she says it is more like confused. Like, well, you're supposed to say, and then she. I know it might be like if I rewatched it, it's like, okay, clearly she's portraying fear. But in the moment, it totally felt like she was like confused. Like, well, wait, you're supposed to say, and then he bites her head off, and I'm like, that's why to me it felt like a joke and not the horrifying conclusion to a scene of a child predator, in my opinion. But I'm glad that you felt that emotion, because that's exactly what that scene
it's intended reaction. It's intended reaction for me. It got
sure.
It's good.
I think it's good. I think that maybe like she could have delivered it differently.
I think it's also bizarre to me that neither of you realized it was the girl from the carnival. Because
well, no, it's because why would the boyfriend didn't come back, and so there was like things where like they would get introduced. The bullies never showed up again, so I was just anything that happened at the carnival in the opening, like that's just the cold open.
Yeah,
I don't.
Same.
So again, and then once,
and the only reason why I knew that the kid, which in the restaurant show up later because I remember from the trailers.
Oh, sure.
So I was like, oh, it's the kids that come back. Cool.
I don't know why I recognized him and not the girl.
But the girl, because it was like just a cute little like, oh hey, we're nice people. Bye.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. It didn't feel like, oh, here's a character for later.
Yeah. I'd agree.
But yeah, even thinking about it, dude. Jesus Christ, that was so fucking.
Yeah, where he uses the whole oh no, like people, they think I'm ugly. And I do
like the bit. It was very where she was like, "You're not my friend. My friend's the hide in shadows." And Pennywise is like, "Good point. Haven't thought about that."
He's like, "Okay."
He's like, "Oh shit, you got me." Well, you see, I'm ugly too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I hide, and I was like, this feels like a predator, like trying to outsmart the kid and like kind of getting stopped into a corner. Then Oh, God, fuck, dude. Fuck that scene. More than like any other scene in the movie. Fuck that scene.
I do think that was probably one of the more disturbing scenes in the movie.
Oh,
but I also like how when the scene opens, it's a firefly, and I totally turned to Nathan and said, "Now remember my firefly."
I was like, well, because to me, I'm like, well, he does do the Sister Abigail, so.
And it was orange, so I immediately thought of the Deadlights, which was a good like visual. Like, do you get it?
So the fetch quest. Oh wait. So before I was about to
Bowers?
go, no.
But it's before the fetch quest.
Well, I was about to say before we delve into each individual one. So I don't know if I just watched part one. Remember how Ben is an architect and he's really good at building things, and how he built them this clubhouse for them to hang out in, and that's established, and so I'm glad they have a foundation to go on for that, and it's not just, hey, we found our clubhouse, and it's not like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Because he was so focused on the history of Derry in part one.
Yes.
So why would he be an architect?
But apparently he can do both. Ladies, get you a man that can do anything.
And he can glow up real good and get them muscles.
But I do agree with Nathan. When they did the whole clubhouse thing, I was immediately like, wait, they never set up that he was building things in part one. They set up that he liked the new kids on the block, and then he liked history.
Yeah. By the way, the scariest... I know that scene I just talked about the little girl being like really horrifying and it's really upsetting. But
yeah.
The scariest jump scare in all the films is the New Kids on the Block poster on the back of the door in part one. That's horrifying. That's an efficient jump scare. Horror directors, up and comers, look out. That scene. Pay attention.
I also think I didn't like how Richie imitated Pennywise and came out of the shadows when I was like, you were pissing your pants like a scene ago about Pennywise. Why would you be like joking about it?
Richie likes to joke about things and to mask his insecurities and his...
But that's such an easy out for like when it doesn't feel like that's what he's doing. But they're like, well, that's what he's doing, so he can just joke.
I disagree with you.
Okay. All right.
That's fair. I didn't like so they have a fetch quest. They have to get relics from their
fetch quest.
A fetch.
So set it up. The whole clubhouse flashback thing is to set up stands.
They're going to get Stanley's token.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Together.
And
yes, they get stands together because he's not there.
No, wait, Mike's not there because why would we give Mike scenes?
Oh, I forgot about that. Why does he not? Okay, never mind.
So the weird thing to me, and it's because I just watched part one. So we have to get a relic for Stanley. So is there anything in part one that we could have used? Maybe like his hat. But like no one was there for his bar mitzvah except for Richie was there. So maybe Richie could have gone to like his dad or like the church and like getting something that was in part one and established as being important to Stanley.
Maybe he gets to see the flute girl again.
Yes.
It shows up later.
Yeah, it's weird that like when he's shapeshifting between all these forms that they're mentioning or that they experience, he shapeshifts into the flute girl, which to be completely fair, I initially was like, well, Stan's not there, but then I was like, well, there is the scene where they all see the flute girl, so technically it makes sense.
When did they do that?
In part one, when Stan gets his face bitten into by the flute girl, Pennywise does the thing where they go, oh, what the fuck is that? And then he like lets go, goes behind the corner, and then comes back as Pennywise.
Yeah.
So they do technically see it, so that is not a plot hole, in fact.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just weird.
Yeah. Well.
It's because they have the model.
Yeah. So look. So the clubhouse and Stan token was sloppy and bad to me. But speaking of sloppy and bad, Henry Bowers, everybody.
Is this when he shows up?
He shows up like I think
around this time.
Because it opens up, and again, it's really weird because it's like Pennywise is back, and it's like the sewer's being drained, and I'm like, are they looking for like the bodies and then all the bodies come out, and then he comes out again? We thought that he just didn't age.
I think that would have been better.
I think that would have been much better.
First of all, you wouldn't have to. So because Bowers is going to get so little to do in the movie, he's in the movie so little. Why recast him when you have a brilliant young actor to play him, and you could do this whole weird thing where he's young and they're old, and that like completely changes the dynamic and is really interesting. But no, we have to recast him.
So now it's all about the casting for Henry Bowers.
Yeah,
they look nothing alike.
No, they have both have mullets.
Yes,
which is all you need.
That are roughly the same color hair.
Silence, though, Jesus. So
yeah.
that was
That older Bowers doesn't even look like Bowers' dad from the first movie.
No.
So it's not even like that. It's not even... Why didn't they just get the dad from the first movie to play adult Bowers? They already reused the mom to be the girlfriend in the beginning.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It's weird, and because
the dad was scary. This guy's not scary.
I know I'm jumping, but when Bowers shows up later,
Hmm.
and they also and Eddie sees him, he doesn't like react.
No, not at all.
He's not like, who's this random person in my room stabbing me? It's like, oh,
Henry Bowers.
it's just you, dumb fucking mullet asshole.
And I'm like, wait, but he tortured you for your whole childhood. Shouldn't you feel a little bit more about this?
And I'm like, yeah, because it's like, you don't question, like, why is he here? How did he get here?
They all
Whatever
saw him
happened to
die.
you? Yeah.
He fell down a fucking 100-foot well, and they're not like, wait, how are you? They're just like, I guess in their minds, they're like, I guess it's Pennywise.
And then later on, Richie kills him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is like,
And
no one cares.
No, they leave
one's-
his body there.
No
They
one
don't-
says who's this person.
what happened to Hochstetter after that? We don't see that getting
No,
involved.
he's just driving the car forever until Pennywise dies.
And it's
and
not
then...
even like the kid actor for Hochstetter. It's like a new person.
I think
What,
it is.
really?
No, it's a new person.
Are you sure?
Really?
I watched.
Okay.
That must be why his face was rotted half off, so they
Okay.
can cover that up.
Okay, well, fooled me, I guess. I just accepted it.
Yeah.
Maybe because I just watched the miniseries.
But so we see that Henry Bowers is in a loony bin and pathetic.
It
and
does
fat
this
and-
cut where he gets arrested for killing his dad
Yeah.
after he gets out of the sewer.
Yeah.
And they don't really say why, I guess because the knife wound, but Bowers doesn't have the knife on him. How would they know that it was him specifically if the weapon's not there? I guess because he had problems with his dad,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe he has his blood on him. I don't know.
but he doesn't. He was in the sewers.
Maybe he has his blood on him. I don't know.
the knife in his dad's throat?
No,
No,
he
he took
takes
it
it with him to kill the losers, and it falls into the well. That's why the friend brings it to him in the asylum.
Yeah.
Because it was in the sewers, and it stayed there until he brought it to him.
Yeah.
So like it's fine. That's fine. But like he gets arrested, and then we cut to him in the asylum.
And he sees a balloon outside and goes ape shit, and all the other prisoners, inmates, patients go ape shit.
Yeah.
And he gets taken to confinement, where he sees another balloon under his bed that he yanks on for
5
75 years, and then it pops, and there's a jump scare that there's half worm-eaten Hochstetter.
Maybe it is the kid. I don't know. I thought it was different.
I think it is him. If it's not, they. did a pretty good job.
He's much greener.
But the bad thing about the Hochstetter thing is, so he sees Hochstetter, and to show you, hey, remember who he was in part 1? It shows the scene with him, like the most memorable scene of him,
Yeah.
where he's not in a group,
Yeah.
where, he would recognize him because the scenes where he was with him in the first movie. It shows a scene that he wasn't at, of him in the sewers with his little, like, flame
Before he dies, yeah.
for, like,
Yeah.
5 seconds, and it's like, oh, remember? And then it's like, Patrick? And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And he gives him the
He
knife.
gives him the knife, and he kills one of the huge fat inmates in front, and the guard freaks out, and then the guard dies.
No one cares. No APB about him. There's no like
No.
wanted posters. There's no nothing.
No,
Mhm.
because it's really funny, or is it scary?
And it's weird to me in this movie specifically because in this movie, Pennywise, in the miniseries, to me, it always felt like in the miniseries, Pennywise is markedly like less effective as they're adults.
Yes.
Like he has less power over them, so he has to use Bowers to try to kill them because he can't hurt them really until they go face his true form.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, no, he can attack them, but also Bowers, because he was in the first movie, he should have just died in the first movie.
Yeah. Yes,
like
he should have.
nothing in this movie that he does impacts anything
Yeah.
at all.
'Cause he shows
doesn't
up-
even injure Mike like
No.
in the original story. Because Mike's there with them.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is going to be an excuse for Mike to not have screen time because he'll just be in the hospital while the losers face Pennywise.
Nope.
No, he's still with them, just barely there.
Yes.
But so Bauer shows up, stabs Eddie in the cheek, and then Eddie like very slowly climbs into
the
the
tub
shower,
closes the curtain.
closes the curtain, and then stabs Bowers in the chest. And then Bowers jumps out the window and is somehow able to take the curtain off while the knife is still in his chest, and then takes the knife out.
Yeah.
And he's fine.
And he's
And-
fine. Because Pennywise magic, I guess.
And they don't show him land because then they would have to like actually show the image of a guy with a knife through the shower curtain landing on the ground, but then getting up and not dying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were implying that Pennywise was keeping him alive, but that never affects anything because he just dies in this very next
I'm
scene.
just pissed we didn't have Pennywise turn into Moon and talk to him.
Yeah.
Or the dog.
Or the dog.
I was so waiting for it.
And so the other weird thing about Bowers to me is we see Richie drive away from the hotel, and then
And the
Bowers
car's
follows him, and it's like, oh, he's going after Richie next. No, he goes after Mike, and then Richie shows up and saves Mike, and it's like,
And then no one questions why Patrick Cox. No, not Patrick Coxeter. Why Henry Bowers is here.
no,
They're not like he died.
And if you're gonna have Richie kill Henry Bowers, who just wounded Eddie, why wouldn't you? I don't know. Do something with that. I don't know, maybe Eddie and Richie are like connected somehow, and you want to.
I don't see why that would be. I don't see why you would have an opportunity to do a character moment.
That sounds. Also, we also get. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is out of order. I know there's the whole individial fetch quest.
Bowers has so little impact. We can shuttle him away now.
Yeah,
He's gone.
we're all done. The other.
That's all he does. Yeah.
Speaking of poorly having characters interact. So Bev is starting to remember January Embers. And she has this scene with Ben, and he's like, "Oh, he remembers." It's like I can't really remember because weird magic when you leave Derry. But I remember this poem.
And a kiss.
No,
She says, "I remember." No. You got it wrong.
I know. There's more.
There's more.
Tricycle. Remember how Mike has that 1 5-second flashback of his parents burning? He's just on a tricycle in the middle of the.
That was because I
Was
heard
it a tricycle?
I believe it was. He was on some kind of like tricycle.
I thought he was just holding onto the bedpost.
No, it was in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah, it looked like a bike.
Oh.
Or
He was in the middle of the hallway, even though he said in part 1 that his parents burned in the next room. And I'm like, why would you say that if you were in the hallway?
Yeah, but that was a flashback I was really looking forward to because I know that was something that they
cut
filmed for part 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a big significant Mike thing.
No. But anyway.
But yeah, so they all have to get their individual tokens.
Yes.
So I believe the first one is Bev.
Yes, because she goes to the house.
Yeah, they do the whole old lady scene first.
Yeah.
I know Bill's the last one.
Bill is the last one.
Bev's the first, Bill's the last. That's what I remember.
Yeah, so Bev, it's a fun scene because like Bev goes to her old house and this weird old lady is there and she's really creepy and like Bev goes into her old room and busts out the floorboards and there's January Embers. My heart burns there too.
So I have a question.
I have an answer.
Do you?
Yeah.
In chapter 1, she hits her father, and he doesn't die, because he dies later.
Yes.
Then the end of part 1, they make a very significant statement of saying, "I'm going to go live with my aunt." So I assume her father is in the hospital, hence why she is able to just leave.
Yes.
Why would she put stuff in the wall if she had to pack up and move to her aunt's anyway?
So, from what I can imagine, is that she might have had put that away. She might have put it away earlier, and then maybe the move to her aunt was so fast she couldn't.
I'd have to see the last scene with her in the postcard and see
me too.
when it falls.
Yeah,
I guess. But
to me, it was weird.
I do think it is a bit weird that she had it hidden in the walls.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's also so.
It's very elaborate for a child.
Yes.
But she's resourceful. No, I can buy it. It just the timing of it felt weird. Like if there was a point where she had to hide it from her dad, or he was going to tear it up.
Probably another cutscene.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
I say half jokingly.
Yeah.
So her flashback to her father.
Yeah.
Oh, was way more rapey.
It's more rapey, but he does that perfume thing, and I laughed.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
It's weird because it starts off going oh, he's mourning the death of his wife. They want him to be. It's the Game of Thrones thing where it's we want him to be more sympathetic and less sympathetic. And it's
yeah, it was kind of weird because I always assumed that he just wanted to fuck his daughter in part 1.
Yeah,
but he has, and I get that it's a love-hate relationship because he's an asshole. But then in this movie, it very explicitly is going, no. He does feel anger towards her for losing his wife, And so that's where the hate comes in. It's not necessarily like just because he's an asshole. He has like a kind of reason. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a reason for that kind of character. I'm saying that it was just kind of like it. I didn't get that from the first movie, really.
Yeah.
I'll take a piss.
That's fair.
You guys keep going.
But anyway, Mrs. Kirsch.
It's Kirsch. It's Japanese.
No, she's not.
No, she's not.
No. Now I'm self-conscious about the fact that restaurant, was it Japanese or Chinese?
Chinese.
Yeah, because it was fortune cookies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which are actually an American.
Or actually an American invention, which is why they're hollow, full of monsters. So she goes to Mrs. Kirsch's house, and the flashback is good, and that, we get to see her. She's actually seeing her father, like, without Pennywise.
Yeah.
Pennywise is not in this flashback.
Yes.
She's just having her father, and her father, is more rapey. He does the perfume thing. And she remembers that, and then and then Mrs. Kirsch is, she's being a weirdo. And it's like really hot.
Yeah.
And so Bev is talking to her, and she's like, "You could just about die." And then she's like, "No one in Derry ever really dies, even though I said you could just about die." I'm just kidding. That's not even
No, it's not good.
But
you're justified.
No, but so she's talking to her, and Jessica Chastain's great. But then, like, Mrs. Kirsch goes into the kitchen, and it does the horror movie thing where if we show someone like the ghost or monster running between the doorway and the protagonist doesn't see, it's scaring the audience, but the character doesn't see, so why is the monster doing that? It doesn't make any sense.
Have we talked about how no one in Derry's ever really gone?
Luke,
we just cycled through it.
Luke Skywalker, no one's ever really gone.
Yeah.
I
don't like that trope in horror movies where, like, I was saying that, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
The monster just kind of does it fast walked in the background, but it's not like the person, like, hears something and kind of goes and then looks back.
So there's two,
yeah.
The old lady Pennywise form does this 3 times.
Yes.
Right.
The first time's when she's watching Bev
right
in the room. She kind of does the cats boom boom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, why is Pennywise doing that? And it's kind of like, well, he's a fucking weirdo.
I get it, but like
and then there's a second time where he leans out
in the hallway.
I get that because he's watching.
And that one's great.
That one was good.
That one,
yeah.
It should have been just that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been way
because
scarier.
that's like.
Because then I wouldn't have seen him cross to the other side, and then he just leans from that side, and it's like, oh, he crossed over when I was focused on Bev.
I think I want to edit the movie where he like reverse walks and do that one first, and then play the lean.
Oh, that's so bad. That's good though.
Yeah.
And so okay.
I'm just saying, Hollywood editors, directors.
Help me understand this.
Okay, no.
The giant naked gremlin lady monster.
Yes.
What symbolically does that tell you about Bev or Bev's fears, or how does that relate to her father?
She doesn't want to become that.
Okay, that works because there's that no, it's true because they have the picture where it's Pennywise, her father, and it's like, oh, so that was her. And because Pennywise acts a certain way towards children, we associate the fact that her father acted that way. Because we mentioned Pennywise is not in her flashback. And I think that's the only one he's not in, because even in Bill's, it's his voice. So, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Bev
does see human Pennywise.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that, but
it's one of the.
But no, that is completely true. I retract my question about that. Makes perfect sense why she's a giant, like, weird naked gremlin.
See, guys, listen, listeners at home, if you have a friend that you truly care about, and you have differing opinions, it's okay.
Yes,
because everyone has a side, and I've been swayed. You boys have been swayed.
Yes,
we're all friends here. So if you have anybody at home and you disagree with them on their opinions, hear them out.
Yeah, Patrick Willems. Yeah, fucking H-Bomber guy.
Thank you for being the one to say that, because I was worried that this would be like our Game of Thrones discussions, where you feel like we're just bludgeoning your opinion with our opinions.
Which
But-
was true, but I think it was necessary. Sometimes.
No, I mean, I was swayed eventually.
Yeah.
well, I think it was important to let you go first and us go, no, that's true. And then, and then we were kind of like, but anyway, so
Then it turns to the carnival of spooky jump scares.
I think the
Yeah.
Mrs. Kirsch thing, I think the Mrs. Kirsch scene as a whole is pretty good. I think
And
overall,
it
I have,
also is kind of scary. It is scary.
oh, it's that creature is unsettling.
At first, I was like, she's gonna come out and be naked,
I did
and then
too.
it was, oh,
Because in the trailer they purposely had the actress, but then in the actual movie they had her CGI model.
Yeah.
You know, so
Also, so
pretty good.
So Joe and I talked. So Sal, was Mrs. Kirsch real? Did she actually just have the one room in the abandoned building, or
No.
was that all a hallucination?
that was all Pennywise.
It was a hallucination.
That
Okay.
was all. I realize now it's all Pennywise. The only part where it becomes weird is because she was apparently an actual person from like the 1800s.
Yes.
That's where it's like, so did she actually grow up, or did she actually die as a kid? And this is just some weird Pennywise
It's like in Blade Runner 2049. The best memories have little bits of truth in them. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
yeah, the best dreams have.
yeah.
You know,
So overall,
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably my favorite of the token gathering scenes.
it's good because I like how there's some Pennywise lore which I wanted more of,
I did want more.
and I did like the door opened and it's old time Pennywise like getting ready for a show.
Wait, that was in the same scene?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
For some reason, my mind placed that later.
I was wondering why you were like, we'll get to that later. I'm like,
Oh, no,
it's
no,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
let's
thought
get to
that-
that now.
Oh, we can get to it now. Well,
So why does
oh!
so we have so I feel like we established Bev has said that if we don't stop him now, we will die before the next iteration. So we get the encounter
Because they make the joke about I'll be 70, and then she's like, "No, we'll be dead."
Yeah. But then we get her scene with Pennywise, and Pennywise goes, "You haven't changed anything yet." And it's like, well,
Because he saw that future.
'Cause he's-
Apparently, he is apparently like can see the future.
yes,
I believe Pennywise is confident in that that's what will happen,
right.
and can't believe that someone can change that.
Well, so there's either one of two possibilities. Either you're telling me he was aware of what she was saying. Well, here's the thing: is Pennywise is weird because in this movie specifically, he seems much more like, sorry, what's the word again?
Omniscient.
Omniscient. I always think omnipresent, but that's not what it is. But it kind of is.
Kind of.
But the way he behaves. But he's so either he was aware of what she said in the past, or at the hotel makes more sense, or he's just kind of, since he's the deadlights, he's beyond
It'd
time.
make
and-
more sense if we had a creepy fucking hotel doorman who.
That's true.
Mhm.
God damn it.
And that was Pennywise the whole time. And
Yeah.
because he wants them to come home, so you could do the whole thing of he's the guy running the hotel because he's like, I provided a place for you.
And you can make it be Ewan McGregor for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he
Why
needs to be
not?
in more
Just
things.
tie it all together.
I mean, there was a bit where I was joking, like, oh, and then Ewan McGregor shows up and has a psychic link with them. And
That would have been fucking awesome.
yeah.
I would have given this movie another hour just for that.
I actually want a Stephen King cinematic universe, but I
Just
think
get
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Idris Elba, Ewan McGregor, and then James McAvoy. They're all
Yeah.
in the same.
Yeah.
So I think after Bev, I'm sure these are all out of order, but the
Right.
important thing is we're going back.
Though Bev is cool at the end. She gets out of the house and it's all
Fucked.
dilapidated. And
Yes.
fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Which
like
kind of explains, like, because at first, whenever she busts open the board and gets her thing, all these cockroaches fell out. And you're like, oh, it's kind of
Yeah.
gross. And you're like, wait a minute. Oh.
Yeah. It's an eldritch location.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not real.
So I think Ben actually comes after Bev. I'm relatively sure.
Because they want to tie the link to the whole
Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
No, because Ben doesn't have a thing.
Yes. He
No, he does.
Well, no.
Yeah, he does.
Here's the thing that is a flaw in the movie. So the token quest is even more bullshit because he goes to his old locker, but he already has it in his wallet.
Oh my
he
God.
already has it in his wallet. They set that up from the first scene, way before he I think in the
It's during a Skype call.
yes,
Yeah.
in the Skype call. So he already has his token, but they're like, well, even though Mike doesn't get a scene, for some reason Ben has to have one, and he just goes to the old locker for some reason.
Yeah.
It was so weird because I'm like, wait a minute, why is he doing? Like, again, it feels like it's padding the movie.
And he gets the yearbook note out of his locker,
Mhm.
but he already had it in his
Yes.
wallet, and later on says I've had it in my wallet for years.
Yes.
Yes.
Man, yeah, the whole Ben in the school scene is
Yeah.
bad.
And-
yeah.
And,
it's-
and
I mean, is it spooky? Yeah, but like, do we need it?
I didn't like the CG on her fire face thing.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little Dark Phoenix.
The whole that whole flashback sequence.
I love leading up before I find out it's Pennywise.
Oh yeah,
partially because I totally ship them.
yes.
So like that kind of dynamic where she's like a little bit like more flirtatious with him. I was like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
This
also,
is
I did like the shadow of, I like how because of her hair and her little puffy things, it looks like it's Pennywise.
Oh yeah, when she pops up.
Yeah.
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 And also, I didn't trust it at that point. I was like, no, it's Pennywise. And then
I was
It's Pennywise.
already struggling with the movie, so I had no idea. I was like, this might be.
well, also
worse.
because then later on, so that scene said something for me later on when they're underwater looking for Richie's glasses, way at the end, and they're about to kiss, and I'm like, I was like, is there gonna be one more scare? I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, but yeah, it's dumb. And also, there's a missed opportunity in this scene.
Tell me.
So he's hiding in the locker, and in the back of his
You
locker,
one of the new kids on the block?
Yes!
Yeah. Have them be monsters.
No,
yeah.
I expected either one of two possibilities. Either A, so you keep cutting back,
Right.
and like that new kid on the block guy is like his
Yeah.
face is fucking visible as shit.
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted one of two things. Either A, you cut back and it's Pennywise in the poster.
Yes, that's what I wanted too.
Or B, the new kids on the block person comes out de-aged and attacks him.
Yeah, that like CGI young new kids on. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
They could have had Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, but no, we got fucking just Pennywise in the locker going, oh.
But yeah, he's just the whole wall, but he's
Yeah.
3D for some reason.
But it also so this scene is also my problem kind of with the flashbacks as a whole. Is it goes, okay, so this is all these flashbacks are happening during the period where they are all split up.
Yes.
And it turns out
Which is fine.
In concept, that's what you would have to do.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Because when Ben gets to the school, it says, summer school starting. And then
yeah, that's right. They did.
And then we had the flashback of, obviously during the cut, they're in summer school. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't like this idea of going, oh yeah, when they were all split up, each and every one of them was attacked by Pennywise again.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when
See,
in part one,
I'm okay with it.
Bill still has to convince each and every one of them, and none of them reference having being attacked again.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it feels like it doesn't fit. It feels like
if you edited them, it would still feel jarring because it would be like, oh, you guys have to come save Bev. What? No, I'm not going to go save her. But it's got her. Why would I think it's got her? It's not like he attacked me. Oh, wait, he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were trying to make that jarring cut in chapter 1 mean something.
Yeah.
They tried.
They did their best.
And they did take the cut Stanley bar mitzvah scene.
They did.
Put it in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more effective if if Pennywise had just been attacking them in the present while they were reliving a depressing time of their life.
Well, that's happened with Richie.
That is what happened with Richie.
That is what happened with Richie. Aside from Paul Bunyan.
Can we talk about Paul Bunyan? Thank fuck we finally got Paul Bunyan, dude. Oh my god. I've been waiting. Every fucking time we cut the fucking Paul Bunyan in the first movie. I was like, I know you move, bitch!
It was... I didn't like it, but but no, I understand. I understand why it was like the anticipation. Well, because I wasn't aware that in the book he actually turns into Paul Bunyan.
Fuck yeah!
So in part 1, all the scenes of them around it. Now that feels like good that they at least set that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I didn't like
and
how.
Also, and that's also the bench where they ask Richie, what are you afraid of?
Yeah, that's true.
And he turns away from the Paul Bunyan thing and says clowns, and it's like, no, you're afraid of Paul Bunyan.
But then they do both because in the present it is just Pennywise and not Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
And the gay thing, but
what gay thing?
So do we want to just get into Richie's since we pretty much covered Ben's?
Okay. I do not have a problem with Richie being gay.
No.
At all, obviously.
No.
But I find it kind of weird that we get this flashback where in the first movie, he has this very vitriolic banter relationship with Eddie.
Yes.
And so, yes, in hindsight, you can say, oh, he was making fun of him because he really liked him.
Sure.
The problem is because of the way some of his jokes were presented in the first movie and the way I feel about them. When I get to this movie, the way they kind of reveal that, it's not a scene with Eddie. It's a scene with Bauer's cousin. And this is after they fucking pelt Bowers with rocks. And the scene ends with Bowers saying, "Get out of here." And he does not physically attack him at all. Even though in his mind, he thinks that he was coming on to his cousin. And I'm like, this would not happen given the timeline of events. Like, why wasn't it a scene of him and Eddie playing at the arcade? And then Eddie kind of like freaked out. And then everybody reacted like paying attention.
Yeah.
He felt embarrassed. Yeah, it's like, because then it would at least be like, oh, you play up that Eddie Ritchie thing more. You don't have this weird moment of Bowers going, "Hey, get out of here. I'm not going to hurt you," but
The cousin who's never mentioned ever again.
never comes back.
He was there for one day. And
Yeah.
then was
And then he left. And-
remarkable.
And just the way the scene played out was like, on paper, I get it. Like, it's just the delivery was weird to me where he was like, "Hey, let's play again." And the guy was instantly like, "You fucking fag." And then Bowers just like hears from across the room and is like, "Are
Yeah.
you trying to bone my cousin?" And I'm like, this
Bowers
is...
has a gaydar, all right? He knows.
He does.
But then it's like everyone in an arcade is like, "Are you serious?"
It's
And
not.
it's like-
It's not like he touched his hand. I don't know. My point is, I would have rather that been like a scene between him and Eddie,
Yes.
and the reveal is, oh, all that stuff with Eddie was him.
yeah.
But it's like that takes longer to register because you have this scene with the cousin.
It took me to the end of the movie when he went, at
Yes.
the very end, when he went back to the thing and said R+E, did I finally get that it was Eddie.
I was getting it in the ritual.
And I'm here looking for the gay shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I got it. I just wish that it was not some character we never see again. Have Bowers overhear him and one of his friends, and he gets really like vulnerable with him, and he's like, "How are you trying to bone Eddie?" And then Eddie like reacts badly and leaves. And then
Has an asthma attack or something.
yeah, and then you could have done that, and it would have meant so much fucking more for the characters.
Yeah. That, and if we had a scene of Richie playing with a bunch of other kids, and suddenly Truth or Dare happens.
Yeah.
Because
They never-
in modern day, we just have Pennywise show up and go, "Oh, you want to play Truth or Dare? The game you could never play." And it's like,
We never
Yeah.
ever did that before.
I don't know if it's a cutscene. You could have done a party scene with him and it doesn't, it wouldn't be at the arcade, but you would have had like a spin, like maybe not spin the ball, but yeah, Truth or Dare, and they're like, "I dare you to kiss Eddie," and he's like, "Oh shit," and they're like, why did it take you a second?" Or something like that. It could have like cinched that all.
Anything?
Because they introduced this whole thing of him like having a weird moment with Bowers' cousin, then immediately Pennywise is like, "I know your secret," and it's like, I wish I had more time for this to like become an actual fear
Yeah.
that he would worry about. Because earlier in the movie, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally married," and like in hindsight, you're like, "Oh, it's because he's not interested in getting married to like a woman."
yeah.
But
And
because
Eddie just went to the only thing he knew, which was someone like his mom, and he
Yeah.
doesn't actually really love.
Yeah.
exactly the security of it, not
Yeah.
the attraction. So I just think like you could have made this a lot more organic, and like if you're gonna make Richie gay, which is cool, like as a way to like develop him and Eddie, as a way to like increase tension with Bowers, as a fear for Pennywise to play on.
Because
That's cool.
The only romance you have is Bill, Ben, Bev.
Yes.
Yeah, and also Pennywise is like, "I know your secret. Want me to tell them?" And I'm like, but if you tell his friends that he's gay, it's like 2019. They're gonna go, "That's great. We love you."
Yeah, that was.
Whereas
that
if it was, "I'm going to tell Eddie that you wanted to kiss him at the party," he'd be like, "No." So, like, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
there would have been a more natural way to handle the gay plotline, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
You would have had time for it if you just cut out the Ben flashback scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Sorry for railroading you, Nathan.
No. That's pretty much
Sorry
all
for railing him?
Well, are you gay?
Railroading.
are you
Get out of here!
Bone my cousin?
I'd like you to ride you home. Give you a ride home.
So yeah. So there was that. So Eddie.
I like Paul Bunyan.
I like Paul Bunyan. I don't.
I kind of also like how like everybody in the middle of the town just
They were
stopped.
swaying. That was
Yeah.
good. I liked
Yeah.
the coordination.
Because
on
I
that.
like how the It movies, the It movies now. I like how they have scares in broad daylight.
Yeah, no, I
So-
agree.
So I'm sick of fucking watching these films that are all like, it was the middle of the night, and it's like, I fucking get it.
We actually, this is totally off topic, so I will make this very brief, but that just reminded me quickly. We just watched Zodiac, and like the scariest scene in the film is in broad daylight.
Yeah. No, because if you can make something scary in broad daylight, you fucking won.
Absolutely.
Yes,
like,
you've totally won.
Making that effective is so like.
And in the first movie, they had the bit with the syphilis hobo, and that was
Yeah.
really uncomfortable to watch because it was
yeah.
like, this is too real.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the broad day. Dude, the fucking happened to me today. Was it the fucking
There was a
bug?
syphilis hobo?
Yes.
Oh God.
Oh, God. I am so...
It was awful. And he was old and had a giant beard.
Did he have a vagina for a nose?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, all right. But to transition, syphilis hobo.
Haha. So we get. Why are you pointing at me when you say syphilis hobo?
I'm saying I'm
appreciate it.
transitioning you.
Thank
I'm playing you out, Paul.
Thank you. So we get Eddie going to the pharmacy to pick up a new inhaler.
Can I just say? Can I say something?
Yes.
I don't like this scene.
You don't like this
I
scene.
don't like this scene.
You don't.
You mean the flashback as well?
You
Okay,
don't, you don't
yeah.
like old man pharmacist going, you have cancer.
See, I kind of. So we watched the miniseries,
Mm.
and there's the old pharmacist.
Oh, yeah, I remember you
I
saying
said to
this.
you,
Yeah.
it'd be great if in the new movie when they have the old pharmacist
Tim
character,
Curry.
it was Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Because in the miniseries, he doesn't say anything. He's just old as fuck, and just
And listen, the guy had a stroke, but I've seen him. He looks much better now. You could have had him in a wheelchair. He's
yeah.
old as fuck.
Yeah.
You could have just been like, oh,
Hey,
Steph.
you had Stephen King.
You had Stephen King.
You
It's-
broke the seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird that you have Stephen King, who no, Tim Curry's older than Stephen King. But
Also, so I'm also gonna knock this movie for doing a joke.
Yes.
So as much as I laughed at it,
Mm.
as much as I found it funny,
Mm.
as much as I did, I laughed.
Yeah.
I thought it was great as a joke,
Mm.
but not my fucking horror movie. Was when the syphilis hobo pukes,
uh,
and it's just call me Angel.
but
and-
it's only for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It makes
I
me-
wanted it to be the whole rest of the scene because that would have
Yeah,
as he's exiting, he's wiping it. But it was so odd.
because and again, I laughed at it because when it happened, because it's Eddie. He's all germophobic. The syphilis hobo, after all of his life, finally threw up in his fucking mouth after he tried to kill it.
Yeah.
But playing "Just Call Me Angel" from Deadpool, I'm just like,
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
How can you not think of Deadpool?
and I'm just like, yes, this is funny, but is it necessary?
Is this necessary?
Is this
Is
necessary?
this necessary?
Does this serve the film? Does this serve the movie, the greater narrative? Are your batteries low? You want to plug it in?
Yes, I do.
Oh God,
I'm
so sorry.
I'll keep bitching about this scene.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been greater. It could have been either the whole scene,
Yeah,
or not at all.
I could have gone with it. Yeah, if it played for the rest of the scene as him, and then as he was leaving as well.
And he's just soaking in it. And
Yeah.
just
But because it was for 5 seconds, it literally felt like a YouTube poop moment, but not in a good way.
yeah,
in,
no, I thought it was a YouTube poop moment.
It
I was
was in a-
so shook.
in a bad way.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like this scene either, especially because Pennywise conjures up the image of his mom, but is shapeshifting as a different thing, and I'm like, does he ever really do that? Not unless they're down in the.
He's
in
two forms now.
Unless they're in the house or in the depths doing the ritual. I don't think he ever outright conjures whole other things. He always shapeshifts.
Yeah.
Because even the Paul Bunyan thing is a shapeshift.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was bizarre to me how he conjured the image of his mom, and then not only that, but Eddie's like, "Mom, why are you down here?" And I'm like, "Dude, but Pennywise can shapeshift. Why are you not
You're fucking in Derry.
Yeah, it's just so weird because it happens when they break up, and I'm like, Eddie would immediately go, "I'm not going down this basement. That's not my mom."
And also, I guess the token he got was his new inhaler.
That also pissed me off because I'm like, oh, so anything that even remotely represents... I know the ritual is bullshit, but it was just
You could really cut down this fucking token grabbing bullshit.
Yes.
Yes.
I kind of wanted to keep Richie's because,
Yeah.
but cut out Ben, cut out fucking Eddie. Maybe have him just go to the pharmacist and get his medication. And you see old Greta and Dr. Keene, but cut out the fucking syphilis.
Have them do what they did with Mike, where he's just like, "Oh, I just have one.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
yourself."
Yeah.
Also, this pissed off Joe more than me. It did annoy me, but I devil's advocated it.
Which one?
In the Eddie flashback, where the bitchy girl sees his cast and doesn't say anything,
yeah.
and then we have part 1 where it looks like she's seen it for the first time and comments that no one signed it.
But you said, no, she just said nobody signed it yet.
I saw.
Which technically, if you take the literal meaning of those words, means I could have seen that before, and I'm surprised no one signed it.
Yeah.
After I
Maybe
saw it.
because she's so dumb, she had to like, she saw it and had to think like, all right, what would I say to really get to him?
Sure. Okay. After the fact, it doesn't like. If you ask me about now, it doesn't bother me. But there was a moment when I was kind of like, wait a minute, I just watched part 1. That's not how it happened.
Yeah. So then we have. Are we on Bill?
I think it's Bill.
Anyone else?
Right? Because it's Ben.
Bev, Ben, Eddie, Richie. Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, Bill. Because Mike doesn't get anything.
I was about to say.
Mike don't get shit.
Isaiah Mustafa deserves so much more.
Yeah, words I did not think I'd be saying after this movie.
Well, there you go.
I was like the most going, I don't know if this guy can really act. Like, he's charming in all the Old Spice commercials, but no, I think
I knew that there had to be a reason they cast him. They wouldn't just cast him because...
Yeah, but because like, I forgot it was him till after the movie.
Sure.
That was Old Spice guy. Yeah,
wow.
Well, he looks so different.
Well, yes.
And his acting is so different.
That's true.
It's like, hello, look at me, look down, whatever. But this, he's like, listen, the ritual, I sold for some Native Americans.
Listen, this is like a minor version of what I experienced. I'm like, oh god, he literally got his mind broken by the LSD.
Yeah, I hope he does more stuff.
Me too.
But we get Bill, and Bill goes, and this is when we get the Stephen King scene. And then he gets Silver.
Now he finally says hi, Silver, and I'm like, too little, too late.
I liked it.
I mean, I liked it, but I was like...
I like how you were the one saying, like, he rides on Silver too much. I'm like, that's one of the things that didn't bother me.
No, I fucking hate it. He's like, you have a car.
I know.
You would get...
Because he drives it to the house, I believe.
It's like, you would get to the carnival to save the kid faster if you were on the fucking
car.
car.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. He does take it to the carnival,
That's good.
That's kind of bad.
That's bad. I actually liked the...
I brought a bad point.
You did. Good on you. I'm going to defend a part of the movie that you didn't like. I looking back on it, I kind of enjoy him riding the bike the first time, and it's all decrepit and breaking down.
I thought that was really
That's pretty good. And I remember, because... So Joe said that we rewatched the miniseries. I rewatched the last hour.
Okay. Yeah.
But I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, I remember Silver being... like an annoying facet of the miniseries.
It was an annoying facet because the ending of the book and the miniseries is, my wife's in a coma because of the deadlights. I'm going to take her on a bike ride, and then she just wakes up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
Well, isn't there also like a scene where he's just riding Silver like around in circles and like getting up on the handlebars and doing all kind riding?
I like that in the miniseries.
I didn't.
It's a bit of him and Mike bonding after not seeing each other. It's character development.
I also like the miniseries where it cuts back and Stanley's in the back of Silver and Bill's riding away. And
it was a good transition to the flashback as well.
Yeah.
I will defend the miniseries much more than I would have pre this rewatch.
Sure.
Sure.
So I just wanted to bring that up. So
we get this dumb fucking scene where he sticks his fucking hand in the sewer like an
an
actual ignoramus.
See, I think the present day scene and the flashback scene is kind of dumb.
I disagree. I think the flashback is fine. Even
what's his flashback?
It's literally just he goes to the drain and is like, "Fuck you, Pennywise," and Pennywise is like, he's like, "Why did you take him?" And
is that a flashback?
Yeah, and he's just like, "You weren't there." Georgie was.
Yeah, I think the transition is modern day Bill goes, "Why did you take him?" And then it goes to
he's looking at
Bill.
it. It's more like he's directly looking at it.
Yeah.
And then it's real brief.
It was a subtle flashback.
It was a very subtle one because then he puts his arm down because he sees Georgie, and then like a million hands grab him, and then he just tears it away, and nothing happens. And I'm like, remember how Pennywise bit off a kid's arm?
Yeah.
I guess he just didn't feel like doing it this time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
so.
Yeah,
because Pennywise knew that the kid from the restaurant would go to the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it is. They're literally trying to just Okay.
Yeah, and that so they brought this up before, but because of the events of part 1, because of their encounters with Pennywise, the kids have been changed and Pennywise have been changed. How? Because that's like they have that line. Oh, we've been infected. Pennywise says we changed something because of our encounter. Feels pretty much like you didn't, because he just wakes up after the same amount of time. He goes.
I can kind of see like that Pennywise has changed because it's not as much as I'd like, but I can kind of see that they were trying to do something where he was like getting desperate.
Yeah.
Like they were not as much as the miniseries, but they were trying to do something where it was like he was kind of self-aware of the fact that it wasn't as effective and that he kind of sucks.
That's fair.
I'm not saying it's like great, but
Speaking of not as effective in the miniseries, quickly recircling back to the Ben flashback, Kiss Me Fat Boy was absolutely abominable.
nowhere near as good.
Just awful. And it made me sad. We didn't see him kiss Bev, and then it turned into Pennywise, and that whole thing.
I'm surprised they didn't somehow transform Kiss Me Fat Boy into like a gay thing with Richie.
Yeah.
Not that he would call him fat, you know.
That would have to include more scenes with gay stuff.
Okay, you're right.
Missed
Sorry,
me with that gay shit.
Missed me with that gay shit unless the
a
first
couple
scene.
moments.
Except the fucking full-on makeout scene.
Yes.
Yeah. So then
Bill's a fucking crazy person with the kid.
Yeah, no, I am so surprised that kid had the patience to like go. Because it just ended up with the scene ended with the kid going, "I have to go to the festival. Have a good day," and then he just kind of laughed and he kept going, "I just have to go to the festival."
If that kid had survived that encounter Pennywise, he could have been a great customer service person.
It's true.
Yeah.
He had it. He was able to put up with Bill's like ramblings. But then what is it? What is it that makes Bill?
He goes back to the hotel.
Yes, he goes back.
And then the skateboard comes down.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, you're not going to be there for him again.
And then the blood is bleeding up.
Yeah.
yeah.
And in a great effect, that he kicks the skateboard and then the blood tracks and it's still going up.
Yeah.
Oh
cool.
yeah,
It was
that's
cool.
true.
That was
I do like how the
shot.
blood, whenever it's Pennywise related blood, it always floats.
Yeah, that is cool.
Except now it's time to sink.
Okay, we're going to talk about that later.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. But
yeah.
so Pennywise literally pulls like a, she's on 252nd Street and he's on Avenue X at Cicero, and then like the whole Dark Knight thing of, oh, you're too slow to save him, and it's like,
But he didn't do a fake. I get what you're saying.
no, I but it's the same energy of like,
Sure.
he goes all the way back to the hotel,
Yes.
and it's like, no, you have to go all the way back to the carnival because the kid's going
I
there.
also do like the scene where Richie comes back to the hotel and then Ben and Bev are sitting on the stairs talking about how Bev is misremembering who she's in love with, and
Yeah,
Richie walks up and just goes, "Move."
Yeah.
that was fun. That was really funny.
And then Ben off screen, which I wanted to watch it, him try to convince Richie to stay.
Oh, that was off screen, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And then Bill comes, does his thing, and leaves, and then there's the bit where Henry Bauer shows up, stabs Eddie in the face, where he doesn't react. To
Oh yeah,
being
that
stabbed
takes
in the
place
face.
there.
Yeah.
And then you have the bit where it's like, "Oh, Richie said he'll stay. It's all right." And then it cuts to him
Yeah.
like escaping out the back, which is kind of fun.
That was funny.
That was
I
funny.
laughed at that.
That was funny,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then apparently he doesn't leave because that's when he gets followed by Henry, but then Henry just goes to Mike.
What the fuck? The editing in this
Oh, because
movie.
he gets the Paul Bunyan scene happen, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is that how it
Maybe.
is? I swear he gets his token and then decides to leave anyway.
yeah, he gets to get the token before the Paul Bunyan scene.
Yeah.
So
What does he encounter then?
I think it just I don't know.
Probably a cutscene.
Probably a cutscene.
Anyway.
But so where are we?
So
So
then
Bill's
we
at the carnival.
I'm very glad that we remember this very pretty clearly, given that it's a 3-hour fucking movie with like a bunch of flashbacks. And,
yeah, we're doing good.
So Bill's at the carnival
Mhm.
looking for the kid.
yeah.
So there's a cool moment actually. So the kid enters the carnival
Mhm.
with someone else with him. He enters the
Oh
house.
yeah, there's two kids.
There's two kids. Now
I
I,
completely
think that
forgot.
second kid is Pennywise because
Oh,
he's wearing the I Heart Dairy hat.
Oh,
That's a very good
that's a good catch.
I
I
did
didn't
not
get
notice
that because I totally forgot about that kid. I thought that he went in, the kid went somewhere else, but you're right. They both go in, don't they? That's
Oh.
totally him. Nice. Yeah, that's
Nice.
very. That's a
Good
good
on you.
detail.
Good on you.
Very good.
Because yeah, even the first movie had things where like Pennywise kind of like hiding in plain sight sort
Yes.
of deals,
Absolutely.
which I enjoy because if you guys might not have seen it, which we should watch the first episode tonight. I want to watch it with you guys. The Legend of Hill House is a great fucking Netflix show.
Oh yeah, I started it, but I got distracted.
It's really good, but there's a thing in it where like it's a haunted house story, but
Yeah.
like ghosts are like hiding like Where's Waldo all over the fucking.
I know in the
place.
first, I saw the first like 2 scenes, and I know the ghost was in the bedroom the whole time.
Yeah,
So like, there's stuff.
and
like
there's
that.
stuff where like in like the corner there's just like a ghost just like waiting there, or like a figure, and like it's really good.
Mm.
And I kind of like how sometimes in it Pennywise will do that, like in the library scene in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because I didn't actually notice it the first time I saw it.
Here's something I'll
Right?
criticize.
He's the librarian.
Here's something I'll criticize part 1 for. Remember how in the library it's the kid without his head, but then at the end of the movie he's afraid of a mummy, and because like from the book.
But it's
Oh, yeah.
but it's also something they fuck up in part 1 because a mummy does
That's
attack
not-
Ben at the
no,
end.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
in
I
the
thought,
first movie.
I thought you were saying because it also
No.
comes back at the end of part 2.
In the end of part 2, they also reference the headless kid, but then it's the mummy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
But anyway, yeah.
But we get the carnival. That is a nice little detail.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
That said, I fucking hate everything about the funhouse.
It's well shot. I like the whole manipulation of space.
Yeah.
I just hate how Pennywise knocks his head against the glass for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I also hate the kids like not like looking back to see who's calling for him. Because it'd be great if the kid can kind of go back and go, "Why are you here? Go away!" And he's like, "No, I'm trying to save you."
Yeah, so it's like Pennywise using the fact that he looks like a child predator against him.
Yeah,
it would be a really kind of like ironic twist of fate. Like the kid thinks that he's a like stranger danger, and the actual stranger. Yeah, so they could have done that.
They could have done that.
But they didn't.
But
they didn't. And then Pennywise eats the kid, and then the blood disappears, and then Bill decides, hey, no more people are going to die because of me. I'm going to 1v1 Pennywise. Goes straight to the house and immediately runs into all the losers, so you don't have to worry about that happening.
But before this,
sure,
Henry Bowers gets killed.
Oh,
because who cares about him?
That's right.
Yeah. Bad scene.
Fucking
very bad scene. The tomahawk that they set up in that one throwaway line about Native Americans came back.
Oh, guys, they just released the final trailer for Dr. Sleep.
Wasn't that the one that we watched in the theater?
No, it just came out today.
Are you sure?
The director just said.
That's fair.
But he's a liar.
He's a liar. He's poisoned the trailer against me.
So they go into the house, and we get kind of a recreation of the house scene from the first movie.
Yeah.
But
by the way, the library where Henry Bowers gets killed in, which is a Mike scene because Mike the thing falls in Mexico. What's that? But it looks kind of like the library from the miniseries. That main like the desk area.
It does. Yeah.
Oh, hey! Before we get to the reunion, and thank you for reminding me to go back. So
to go forward, you must go back.
So I forget when exactly it is. So maybe I did this wrong. They're having a whole thing without me.
No, go ahead. No, please.
I'm informing the audience. So they used the Stanley speech scene that we didn't get in part 1.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, because Richie goes and sits down in the he goes to the.
Oh, is that what it is? Maybe he goes.
Yeah, Richie.
When he runs away, he goes.
He runs away and goes to the. It's not a church because he's Jewish.
Yeah, it's
whatever. It's fucking called.
I don't know if you knew this, but Stanley is Jewish.
Really?
I
thought he was Presbyterian.
No.
Right. That's when it. Yeah. That's okay.
Okay, so that makes. Okay, we've tied that knot.
Is it called a synagogue?
Yeah, it's a synagogue.
Well done.
That I really had to think.
I got your back.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm glad this was cut from part 1. I didn't think it was like that.
I thought it was okay. I think removed from the scenes with the kid in part 1, there's no build up to it, so it's like
I agree.
Stanley scene,
and I enjoyed it ending with Richie kind of going, "Oh, Stanley."
Yeah.
Just pure crest.
Oh no, that was great, Bill Hader.
And I liked Little Richie being the only one to cheer and support his friend.
Yeah, that was good.
But it's weird to me because we have this moment of Stanley going, "Oh, I'm a loser. This is where I am." It's like, oh, so he's going to get the band back together. Well, I've seen part 1. He didn't. It's not. That didn't.
So they cut it.
Yeah, that's why they cut it. Yeah, that's why that scene doesn't exist. But
because he goes, "I'm a loser. Like I love my friends," and then 2 scenes later, he's like, "You guys are my friends."
Yeah, so that was a good decision to cut it, but then you brought it back. So points reducted for part 1.
But we're in the house.
We
got all the stuff. We're gonna do the ritual.
This also has one of the jokes that I enjoyed, where we see the flaming goo down the stairs, and Richard's just like, "I love what you've done with the place."
that was I think that was my favorite joke in the whole movie, aside from him going out the back entrance. Yeah, him going, "I love what he's done with the place," because it's like clearly just like shittier than it already was.
Yeah,
and it's like okay,
yeah, great.
Yeah. And then I don't remember the order of these too well, but I know like Ben gets like the H in his stomach.
Yeah,
and at first you think, oh, it's the same cut as what Bowers did, and then it's like, what is it? It says home, sweet
home at last.
Home at last.
Yeah. And then Pennywise
and it's like in the mirror.
Yeah,
it's Bev, Ben, and Mike, and then they're separated from Eddie, Richie, and Bill.
Wait. Yes.
where they have a recreation of the scene in the first movie where
with the fridge.
with the fridge, which is a great scare in the first movie.
Yes.
It's great, and I love it because they set up the fridge in the first movie, and in the books, Stan talks to them from a fridge.
Yes.
So the fact that Stan pops out is like great adaptation.
And it's Kid Stan.
Yeah.
It is Kid Stan. I'm like, thank God.
Because that's how they remember him.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
Because I never saw him.
Yeah, that's really
Because
smart.
And it's a good foreshadow to the fact that Pennywise, spoiler, is a giant spider.
Yes,
Yeah.
although I will say one thing that annoyed the piss out of me. As good as this was and as great as it looked, they literally like recreate a scene from The Thing, and they say, "You got to be fucking kidding me," which is right from The Thing, and I'm like, don't reference that movie.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Even though, yes, setting up the spider thing was good,
Yeah.
and Stan's head becoming.
It also has another good joke of Richie looking at him and goes, "Oh, there he is."
This also sets up that Eddie is too afraid to face his fears. More on that a couple minutes later. But so they all get separated.
Which is weird
Are
because
those the only two scares?
Which is weird. Which is weird because aren't Eddie and Richie in love? Maybe. I don't know. The film will talk about it.
Yeah. Also,
I'd love to see it.
Also, really, really good continuity. Even once they have broken the mirror, and Ben is no longer getting cut up. He still has the scar
still
from
has the
where
scar.
Henry cut him.
Oh, yeah,
He
that's
does.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it looks the same.
It looks the same. It's a full H and then like part of a E.
And Pennywise was gonna cut his throat. He was gonna kill him.
He was cutting
like
his throat.
straight up, like just kill him.
Well, Pennywise is done. He's like, I'm just gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fucking.
yeah.
dumb.
Like he's not really preoccupied with the fear.
It's
or
like
with-
No.
in No Country for Old Men, where he's like, I don't like to use guns. And it's like, oh fucking shit, I don't care anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking kill him.
Oh yeah, and Ben is the one who stabs the shit out of the Stanley head when
Yes.
he's attacking Richie, and then it just slinks off and is like,
Yeah.
as Pennywise does.
And
when he stops losing.
I know you said I don't. It's whatever, but like I know you said like, well, he believed that he was hurting the head with a knife. Why
Yeah.
didn't it work? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
If you abide by the rules of the thing you inhabit, it's a spider head.
So since he was inhabiting the Thing from the movie The Thing, that would have.
Oh,
You see? Haha.
Would it have been
All
great
is
if like
revealed.
See, but oh no, go ahead.
if they were like watching the thing at one point?
Because that's the thing is in the original book he turns into the werewolf and the mummy, and they have the mummy in this movie. But if they had set up like in the first movie, like them watching the Thing, then this would have been like Pennywise going, "Oh hey, like
That's
You were
scary.
scared of that.
You were scared of that in your childhood."
But no.
But they cut that scene. I'm assuming they did because I'm giving them the no, I'm just saying. But yeah, and then they go down to the hole, and they climb down. Does any
It's a really awkward edit where we don't see them climb down. They get to the top of the well, and then all of
Right.
a sudden they're in the sewers.
and they're in the sewers, and then
And then we have a stupid scare. Where she
Oh,
says,
yeah.
She says, time to sink.
It's
I-
the gremlin
Which
monster again.
goes nowhere.
It's
Because-
another scene to have Eddie be worthless and go,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm too scared to move."
And then we have the great scene where Richie gives him the pep talk and is all like, hey, you got
yeah,
this, man.
I like that.
Yeah,
that was a
that
really
was
that was a
good.
great. That was one of my favorite scenes in the whole
Yeah.
fucking movie.
Yeah,
I was like, this is
absolutely.
amazing.
It's Bill Hader acting.
Yeah, and then
And Bill Hader's great.
and they go down, and it's like the meteor crater,
Yeah.
and it's kind of glowing, and
And there's no spooks now.
no, there is like, isn't there like the hashtag where you see something moving behind Beverly as they're squeezing through that crack, but nothing happens?
I think it's. I know.
No,
they
it's Mike.
they look
It's
up.
Mike coming. He's next.
Okay,
They look up at the ceiling before the deadlights go up, and they see that it's kind of the gullet with the creepy bits.
Oh,
and they and like and I
yeah.
like that on the crater you see moisture flowing upward.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that was good.
Good continuity.
And
there.
and yeah, they're joking, they're having fun. It's ritual chud.
Yeah, I liked
Um,
this. This whole scene was good.
This was
I
really
liked
good.
this.
Oh, we skipped over the turtle in the school.
Yeah,
We
there's-
also skipped over how in the drug vision you see the turtle claw tapping for 2 seconds on his hand.
yeah.
Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, no. If you go back to the drug scene, when the Native Americans are sitting in a circle, and then Bill's there for half a second, he looks over and there's a turtle claw like tapping into his hand like that, and then it just cuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was too on drugs to even notice it.
Yeah. No, it was there. I was like, wait, what the fuck? He's in the movie.
Yeah.
But
Do you want to explain what the turtle is for those at home? who
Oh,
have just seen
okay.
it?
If you've just seen the movies and the miniseries,
Remember in chapter 1, there's a bit where they're in the lake and they're like, oh, look, a turtle.
I
What's
saw
that?
a turtle down there.
And also, there's a Lego turtle in Bill's
Yeah.
and Georgie's room.
So in the book, okay.
Martuine or whatever.
Maturin, however you want to say it.
Martin.
He's the opposite to it.
Yes.
He is like good, and he vomited our galaxy into existence.
Mhm.
He basically just vomited, and life came from it. And so Pennywise and he are like outer beings, and Pennywise feeds on fear, and Machirin gives them courage or whatever. Now they've pretty much excised this aside from like references and like hintings in nothing in the miniseries at all. But then in this movie, out of these two movies, they do like little
Cheeky stuff.
They do cheeky stuff like that, but he never like really shows up. But in the book, Machirin helps explain to them the ritual of Chud. They kind of just gave that to Mike.
Yeah.
The certain details of it, at least.
I think Mike had lines.
Yeah, but in the book, the ritual is part of like them killing Pennywise. Whereas in this movie, they kind of have it be like the false climax, and then and then more stuff happens. But yeah, the turtle is like this outer being, and in the Dark Tower series, he is one of the 6 holders of the beams that hold all realities in existence together. And in the Dark Tower, they reference that for every guardian, there's another one across, but in the middle, there is a greater demon. So you're supposed to infer from that Pennywise is the greater demon. Which someone also pointed out that, like, I don't want to spoil the Dark Tower ending, but the whole point is to bring down the tower. So the bad guys are doing. And someone mentioned, oh yeah, like in the book, the losers kill Pennywise, and then their efforts, like the turtle gives the last of his energy to help them, and so that weakens the tower's beams. And I'm like, oh shit, they fucked it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, like aside from that, like the turtle is just kind of like this thing, like the only thing from the book, really, the major thing that's really not adapted, and I don't know if it ever will be, but
yeah.
In 27 years.
In 27 more years, we'll get the movie that is just from the turtle's point of view.
Perfect.
And so he watches all the miniseries and
Genius.
the movies, and it's just CGI together. All is revealed.
He's seeing all different realities.
Yeah.
Yes, and so then they go and start doing the ritual, and I like this scene, and the jokes are really funny.
Yeah.
And then they put it all in there, they burn it, and then they're chanting, because the deadlights come.
Yeah, turn
the
light to dark.
Yeah, turn light to dark. The deadlights come from the gullet in the ceiling.
Yeah. And they're blue instead.
And
of... Actually, no, they're orange. They're still orange.
They only become blue when they come out.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
But anyway.
Again, we don't know.
They suck them in, they close the lid, and then, like, the balloon and/or, clown nose pops.
Yeah.
And they all telekinetically fly out. And then Pennywise is like, haha, stupid idiots. And then...
And he's, like, slinking behind the crater and mocking them. Oh, Mike didn't tell you the whole truth.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, well,
I thought it would work because we believed.
We have more belief than they do because they're Native Americans.
That's not what he was implying, but
it might as well be.
I mean, I wouldn't know. We don't have enough scenes.
Yeah. So we find out that the ritual of Chud and half of the movie is pointless.
It's a gazebo.
It's a gazebo. That was a terrible joke in the first movie, and it's still bad.
I like how much you like harp on that. It's so good.
It's pretty funny.
But anyway,
my heart.
Yeah.
I thought you were disagreeing and being like, "Oh, I don't want to." I don't want to be a dick and say no.
I think it's all right. It's an all right joke.
And then I pretty much think from there just Pennywise becomes the half spider because they couldn't commit to not having Bill Skarsgård as the final thing they were fighting, even if it was his voice. I kind of didn't like this just because he was like just half a spider.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it.
And I thought it was a slow transformation because there's this really good shot where you see his giant hand and a bunch of little hands in it, and then it turns into a claw. It's like, okay, now he's going full. No, just that other.
No, it's just Quelaag.
There's the bit where it is Quelaag. There's the bit where he does. There's the bit where he opens his mouth again, and the deadlights are in it, but this time the blue deadlights are shooting energy into his head, and that goes through to the orange deadlights that then hit you. Yeah. I don't know what that means. I don't know why the deadlights are separate from him, but it's okay because, and basically, this is so long. Basically, all of them have psychic battles with Pennywise,
except for Mike.
Mike fucks off and hides behind some rubble.
They all have
and I guess that blocks him from Pennywise's psychic beams.
How would we know? We never see him. It reminds me of Suicide Squad, where they're all... No, I'm telling you, this reminds me of the scene in Suicide Squad where they all have the visions, but for some reason, like, I forget who it is, but one of them doesn't have the vision and is like, no, it's not real.
I don't remember that movie, so I can't help you there.
Do you expect me to remember Suicide Squad?
Well, I'm just saying.
You're a stronger person.
Remember won an Oscar.
We can skip over that.
So Ed and Richie's psychic battle is a comic skit.
It is a comic skit.
It is a comic skit.
And
because in the first movie you saw the top of Bay Ripson's body
Yes.
Now this
Yeah.
one is the bottom half.
Yeah. And that's what's in the very scary door. And then there's a dog. And the whole time we have this Pennywise leech arm behind them, urging them onward.
Yeah.
But then once they get scared, they literally just look back and go, "Oh, this one's not chasing us anymore," and they just fuck off back to the main chamber to face Pennywise again.
Yeah, and also like it's a comic bit,
Sure, yeah.
and Richie's being like, he's fucking with us.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but like
I think it's just the length.
Yes.
it's long.
If it had been briefer, it would have popped way better.
Yeah.
It would have been way funnier if, like, the doors came back and they're like, fuck, very scary. Close it. Dog? And they're like, that's kind of cute. Then it turns into a monster. Like, if it had been that, it'd have been like, oh, that's funny.
It's because they knew, oh, that's cute, that they knew that would, they wanted to seem smarter than they were. Where it's like, oh, I know it's going to be something scary. Like, if they had just gone, oh, that's cute, I know it's going to be something scary, and then have it pop and have them go, eh. But it's like this weird back and forth of, oh, no, it's cute, sit. Oh, it's such a good boy. Oh, it's going to be something scary, but it's so good. Oh.
I think that's what it is. It's like, if that would have been way funnier if it was just briefer, because I like the concept of that joke.
It's brief in comparison to the Bev and Ben bit, though.
That bit goes on a long time.
It's fucking forever.
And also has possibly my least favorite moment in the whole movie. So do you know what it is? Okay, so in Bev's scene, she's in the stall that she was in the first scene we see her in the first movie. And then the door is kind of shaking. Does the blood come in before the people start breaking in, or after?
After.
Okay, so the people start breaking in, and it's like all these, like, the girl who, like, made fun of her husband, her dad. But then I don't know whose face it is, but it pissed me off. The face bursts through.
Bauer.
It's Bowers?
Yeah, it's Bowers.
Young Bowers or Old Bowers?
Old Bowers.
Old Bowers pops through and says, "Here's Johnny." And
I actually blocked it from my mind.
And I legit said, "Fuck you." Like, I was so angry. I'm like, you cannot, in the climax, referring to, like, her fear of, like, her period and her dad raping her, you cannot just do, like, a throwaway gag to a better fucking Stephen King movie directed by a director who will always be better than you. And, like, as, like, a joke.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
It is a joke.
Like, if Bill Hader had done it, like, in his stand-up comedy skit, it would have been like, haha, you get it? Like, it's because it's kind of in our world, so, like, he would know the like, even though it's a Stephen King movie, it's fine. But the fact that it's, like, a Pennywise shape-shifting scare joke is so bad. Like
Pennywise, this is his, like, last-ditch effort to...
Yes! He knows he's gonna lose if he can't effectively torment and kill them, but, like, he chooses... So, like, it doesn't make sense from a logical point of view. It's tasteless, and it's, like, really not favorable to you, because you're, like, inviting me to compare you now to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and I'm like, okay, if you want me to.
Also, on top of that, when we have her dad pop up again and go, "Are you still my little girl?" she just immediately goes through the same character arc she had in part one. It's like, "No, I'm not!" Kicks the door open, breaks off his fingers, and breaks out. Meanwhile, Ben is being buried in his clubhouse that he totally built in part one. And he's getting buried in dirt while Pennywise is going, "Here, you're a fat boy. You're not gonna do anything. You're a fat boy." It's like,
the way he gets out of it is, "I love you, Beverly."
I think this bothered you guys more than it bothered me.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's the power of love.
Like, the movie ends with the power of belief anyway. So I was basically in the mindset of, they're all psychics. They can all psychically, because Pennywise is purposely putting them in a psychic realm, so they can use psychic power to, like, break through.
I mean, I get that, but I don't like that it's him trying to say the poem for 5 minutes while choking on.
Okay,
because he says like all of it, but then it's just my heart, and then finally when she breaks out, he's fine, and it's like, oh,
maybe because it's proximity to the "Here's Johnny" moment. I was not really that irritated by
that's
because I was like, you know what?
See, when stuff like that happens, that's more I'm disappointed in you. I don't get enraged.
It was only enraging because
Dr. Sleep's coming out.
Well, yeah, partially that, but also it's just like they are so self-referential to other Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
Like the thing joke was the primer.
Sure.
I was like, okay, and then the "Here's Johnny" was like my breaking point of stop.
Yes.
Stop.
But we have that, and then
we have Bills.
Bills is pretty good.
Yeah.
Aside from
I don't like the resolution of it. I like the start of it.
Yeah, no, I like how I assume it's supposed to be that scene from the first movie, or at least like a recreation of it without Pennywise there.
Yeah.
Except he's the younger.
I
version.
did that. It was very Silent Hill Downpour, where he was the monster.
Yes,
I was
yeah, because the younger Bill is like trying to shoot him the way he shot Penny.
No, the one.
The way he emerges out.
No, yeah.
Older Bill is the one who has is puppeteering. I was
yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, I liked that. That was good. And again, I wish there was more scenes with the younger and older actors.
Yeah, working off each other.
It was
good.
Yeah.
Because there's not much of it, and then
I did laugh out loud when he drowned the shit out of Georgie. I was like, that looks funny to me. I know it's meant to be a triumphant character moment.
He kills his past self.
Yeah.
Which I also laughed at, because it's young Bill going, oh, you're the worst brother. It doesn't work. And then it's like James McAvoy like taking the gun, getting above him and putting it to his head. And it's like, that's...
Yeah. Well,
also, we have the reveal. Bill was never sick.
No shit. It was a fake ass cough.
Piece of shit.
That was always a fake ass cough. And I'm glad they kind of today went, yeah, on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do agree with Bill 100%, like, because I didn't want to hang out with my brother once, I deserve to, like, be damned.
I agree with all of that. I hate how he starts it with, no, you were the best big brother in the world. And it's like, that's not how you talk yourself out of guilt. That's what a terrible...
He's doing his best.
But McAvoy's, like, trying to act his ass off.
He's trying.
So it's good.
Was that
that's it. That's the last one.
Well, then we have that Mike's... Oh, wait.
That joke is not relevant. So then they break through. They prove that like Pennywise, you ain't shit.
Except for Mike.
Because he was never in trouble.
Yeah.
Ironically, the person who made up the ritual was the one who didn't have to go through anything, even though they all believed.
And he didn't die or get really that injured.
No. No.
Mike's fine.
Mike's totally fine.
So we have this sequence of giant semi-spider Pennywise chasing him around.
It's great.
They crawl into this crevice and
go,
oh, it's not working. Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, this was weird.
Life must abide by the form it takes, or whatever the saying is. So if we take him back to the entrance, where it's way smaller, he'll have to be smaller to get us. And I'm thinking, you're in a smaller area now, and he's staying the same size, ineffectually trying to kill you the entire time you're concocting this plan.
Yeah.
Pennywise is stupid.
And he doesn't hear it.
And he doesn't hear it.
And he's teleported before. Like, we've seen this.
And he continues to claw at that entrance as he watches them circle around.
Yes, he literally is like looking down at them and they circle around and he just is still just...
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then I think this is where the whole Richie calling him... What name does he call him? Do you remember?
I think he just calls him a bitch.
He just calls him a bitch.
He comes out and is like, here's the truth, you're a bit... Deadlights.
Right.
No.
Huh?
This happens once they come out after their whole they get back with Mike, they run around a bit more getting hit. And then
okay.
And then Richie does that with Eddie, and then he gets deadlighted, and then Eddie has the fence post.
This kills monsters.
Which Dad was like, this kills monsters. He fucking 360 no scopes Pennywise.
Yeah.
Memes his ass.
Yeah.
Is way too happy about it, gets stabbed.
Yes.
And then it's after this point that they retreat back and they go...
Oh,
and then it circles around.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because then they set Eddie down so they can fight him.
Richie being hit with the deadlights, that was great.
I didn't like it because the deadlights were, for some reason, ineffectual as soon as they stopped hitting you. Whereas in part 1,
yeah, Eddie should have kissed them.
That's what I'm saying. Should have kissed him.
It should have been a character moment instead of a joke.
And then
another
character moment is that kind of jumping a little ahead, but when they're talking to Eddie, I don't know if we mentioned this on the mic, but instead of saying no, we did. When Eddie could have said I love you, he says I fucked your mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
what he really meant was I love you.
Okay. And then
so then we have the losers have so the losers are like, oh, we can't get, I forget what happens that they're like, oh, we can't get to the entrance. I think it's because
he just blocks them.
No, it's because they don't want to leave Eddie because he's still alive at that point.
Oh, yeah. And then he blocks them.
Yeah.
But then they run away towards the crater.
Yeah.
Away from the entrance, which is where they want to go, so they always have to shrink.
Yeah. But then,
so, the plan they literally just spent time making, they've immediately just said no.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mike, his one of his major contributions to the movie is him realizing there are other ways to make people feel small. And so they all just start calling insults at Pennywise
and bullying him, which is like
into submission.
I know it's supposed to be like ironic, but to me it was like, this movie's message. Are you telling me that it's okay to bully when you're doing it with your friend? That's not what you're saying. Are you saying it's okay to bully someone when they're bad? Oh, well, that's subjective, isn't it? That's my point of view.
Are you saying if a bunch of people call someone shitty, they're shitty?
That's not a good message.
If it's an Eldritch Abomination, free pass.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not trying to say a message, but at the same time, it was hard not to read something like,
and
there's literally bullying this poor man,
and it's
until he's like,
and it's just hilarious how he's shrinking and going, "I'm the destroyer. You're a headless boy. You're a piece of shit."
So I get like that's why they were priming you with my endings are always bad.
Yeah,
because like it's like a cheesy ending. I didn't mind it. Like
I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it specifically. I
still wish the heart would have been put into the saying we complete a ritual.
I just think it's weird that like again the deadlight's hovering above him, and then there was this weird moment where Mike's gonna reach in and get the heart, and then there's like goes back a second, immediately just resumes pulling the heart out. I'm like, I get that like the point is he's trying to do one last scare, but if I'm directing this movie, that's the moment when I don't use the jump scare sound effect because he has no power.
Yeah.
So he would go, ha! Mike just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah, no reaction.
No reaction. But the fact that he reacts was like one last, like, gotcha, audience. And I was like,
okay. I thought when he reacted, maybe it was to grow back some strength again.
Yes, I totally thought that.
Yeah.
And then I also thought it was weird that Richie tears off one of his legs, and they don't tear off any other ones.
I thought when he was going to tear off the leg and then stab him with it.
Yeah.
But no.
We can't have our heroes do death by dismemberment.
Even though that's the end of the book.
Only Kali Ma.
That's the end of the book.
Well.
And they all squish the heart, and he gets snapped away. Thanos kills him, and...
Yeah. And then they realize that Eddie died in the interim, and that's, that's sad.
Richie's the big sad.
Yeah.
Richie's the big sad.
And Richie is freaking out and saying he's fine and that they should get him out while the cave is crumbling. And I'm like, I get it, but it goes on a little too long.
So past this point, I'm pretty much with it. The whole collapsing cave thing is a bit like, okay.
Yeah.
I played Ocarina of Time, Like,
I have one more annoyance at the end, but I agree that most... so I think it... Does it flash back to them young after they beat him in part 1? Or does it go to them on the cliff?
When they come out...
Yeah.
When they come... There's 2 points where it flashes back. When they come out, they're in a circle holding each other.
Yeah.
And then it fades in the shot of them holding their hands together.
Yeah.
With the oath. Mm-hmm. Their scars fade away, but we only see like... we've talked about that.
They go to the lake, and there's now a sign saying no diving.
And they ignore it, which is great. I like that whole bit. And then they jump down. And then there's a weird moment where they were kind of like doing the love triangle, but then as soon as Bill sees Ben with Bev, he's like, looks away. And you're like, oh, okay, that was easily solved.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's just happy to be with everybody.
Yeah, he's just happy to be alive.
And then they gather on Richie, and that's good.
And what's not good is him not confessing or doing anything.
Yeah.
Even for his glasses, which just leads to Ben and Bev kissing in a dirty fucking lake.
And it's a really surreal, like, slow moment. Like, because it's like Ben about to go up for air, and then Bev pulls him down.
It just turns to Pennywise.
And I'm imagining just Richie just, like, blind.
Yeah.
Like,
I liked his line of being like, I can't see anything, but I love you guys, or something.
Yeah,
I don't know who you are.
I don't know who people are. I can't see.
Yeah, I don't know who people are, but I love you. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And then I think we flash to the bike scene at the end is intermixed with Stan's letter.
Yeah.
And they're walking around. They're walking around town.
Empty dairy.
And they kind of like look, and then it cuts and it's them young.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back and they're like, oh, my mom's gonna kill me.
Oh, it's reflected in the... Yeah, that was really good.
That was good.
That was really good. And then it jumps...
It jumps
how much
forward,
time?
I think...
And Bill's writing the first chapter of his new book.
Yeah.
And Mike has a scene, and he's like, oh, hey, you learn how to finish a book yet?
And I'm like, okay, I guess we had to carry that to its conclusion.
One more.
And
he's like, I ended a chapter...
And there's the Stanley suicide note.
Before that, I will say another good moment. I liked that at the end of Bill and Mike's conversation, Mike was just like, "I love
That was so. I
was
was
too
like,
real.
I was like, fuck.
And it's interesting because like as it was getting there, I was like, just say I love you. Like just you're friends. You're like you're as
And
close
they
as can
did
be.
it.
And they did it, and I was like, good on ya.
Oh, I forgot to mention in the theater
Mm.
when Richie they were on the lake having fun and they were like yeah and when Richie just started fucking breaking down crying again, I started crying.
Good. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, 'cause
I was worried it was for the Stanley suicide note, and I was like,
No.
No,
No.
the Stanley suicide note isn't bad. I just don't like it because he's like, this isn't a suicide note. Immediately says, I've taken myself off the board. I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
it's a suicide note.
And I don't like that. So he's basically just like, I knew I wouldn't be able to face my fear, but it had to be all of us. So I took myself off the board, and it's like that's funny because Eddie felt the exact same way, and he still
Yeah,
manned
and look
up.
at him. He
So-
manned up. And I
But
was
this
like,
is inspirational, and I also don't like it. That,
was Stanley's note to say, well, if I kill myself, then we can't all be together technically, so they can't go try to stop Pennywise.
that may have been his intent. That's not how they're trying to read it at the end of the movie. So maybe like that makes more sense that he would want to try to stop them from going back.
yeah,
But then because I guess, I mean, looking at it logically, but he didn't let Mike know. So how would he know not to? Because he got the call from Mike. How would
Yeah.
he let Mike know? Hey, I'm killing myself, so you shouldn't invite anybody.
well, Stanley has the same feelings towards Mike that the writers and everyone else does, which is fuck him.
Oh.
Hey, if only Mike and I die, I see this as an absolute win.
But I do agree. It's so weird how like Eddie is like had the same exact thing of like I can't do this, and guess what? He did it,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and he died. He sacrificed himself.
It's also really weird to me. So I believe we see all of the adult losers at least reading the letter.
Mhm.
But Bill and Mike, if even that,
yes, because Ben and Bev are on the boat.
right?
Bill is at home.
Okay.
What's
Mike
Richie
is
doing?
at home. Richie.
I don't know if we see.
What is Richie doing?
I was gonna.
We don't
I,
get it.
I completely.
Oh, what?
I completely forgot about Ben and Bev because what my complaint was going to be was we only get resolution for Bill and Mike at the end. Bill is working on a new book, and Mike is
Dude.
leaving Derry. Shut the fuck up.
Is he going to Florida?
You going to Florida?
Ben and Bev are off cruising.
Off on a
What's
boat.
Richie doing?
Banging. I had this fake memory of him like about to start another comedy act and then reading it, but it's not there.
It's not there.
That's not in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And
But yeah.
and then
And then we have
what was Eddie doing?
Dead.
Oh, Eddie's dead. Sorry.
Oh, Richie went to the bridge and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. So we
wanted so much more for that arc that we were like, that scene
Yeah.
isn't worthy of it.
and
And then there
then
has to be more than just that.
yeah.
and then the end of Stanley's suicide note is the Star Trek Beyond, where it's all of the actors saying one line. to the
Yes.
completion.
Yeah. That's
And I
that's
was
exactly
like,
right. And it was also the Avengers Endgame teaser that was like,
yeah.
put a group of remarkable people so they could do the mission. No one else.
Yeah. So that was
In conclusion, I have definitely changed my opinion of the film. Because,
I hope this hasn't been just painful for you.
but I still,
I
on
feel-
the whole, like the movie.
I feel like there was some quality
Yes.
discussion
Yes.
where we all conceded and or refined our already established opinions.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that I want to get my hands on both of these films, all the deleted scenes, and make my own cut.
Sure, yeah.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch it.
I think that the film drags.
Yeah.
I think the film drags in some spots and is lacking in others, and that's sad. But on the whole, it's still a quality made film.
Oh, it's
I
well
think
made.
It's well directed, well edited, well shot, well casted, except for Henry Bowers.
Mhm.
It
And
is bad.
I think that this film wasn't as rushed out as it could have been,
No.
No, it was 2 years.
but it's more rushed than it should have been.
It feels like a film that came out a year after the last one.
Yeah,
and they were like, look how big our dick is.
I would have liked it one more year
Mm.
to refine.
Do that
this.
third year
Mhm.
sequel. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can feel
Really
it.
refine
The
it.
Star Wars trilogy.
Really get all that you need in there. Really just
Yeah. Because I get it. It's hard to like do this story split up
Yeah.
between the kids and the adults. But I do feel like if the movie's 3 hours, all the ideas we said that would have improved the story should have been in there.
yeah.
Like without a doubt. And like I get it. it's like funny, but if the film needs to be 4 hours, the stuff that would have made the characters better should have been in there.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
So
I guess I've softened on some things. There's scenes that I am more willing to, so like the Mrs. Kirsch scene, I'll take. Like there's some other scenes where
there's just some stuff that now that I know it goes nowhere. Well, I enjoyed it in the moment. Now looking back, I'm like, now knowing it doesn't go anywhere, I'm like, well, fuck, like that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Cut it. Like, what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. Like again, that moment when I think the night we went away from watching it, Nathan and I had that moment of like, wait, Ben had his token from the first scene. What the fuck?
Yeah, like he shouldn't have had that scene in the school because it did nothing.
Like, I guess the point is that he had to go back to the spot to like realize it was significant. But I'm like, but he kept it in his wallet for this time. He knows it's significant.
Because Mike didn't have to do that.
Yeah, Mike didn't have. So let's say that, like those moments
Mike
when you
didn't
notice.
have scenes.
Yeah, those moments when you notice just like, oh, this is literally just to like fill up time, and we wanted to use the younger actors again. I'm like, but there's other ways to use the younger actors that aren't as like contrived.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do agree. I think it's like it's kind of bloated, kind of like Eddie's mom, but I do. There's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of talent, and I still like part 1.
It's the same people who did the first movie.
Aside from the cinematographer. Cinematographer was different. But I mean, there's really almost no noticeable difference. But I'd say like it's in my mind, from my opinion, it's very flawed. It drags, and I think the comedy can be a bit much. But
it can be.
I think the comedy, to me, like I just said, is like when I think about it from our discussion now, the actual story, like missed opportunities, hurt way more than my initial reaction to the like some comedy, or certain metatextual references.
I'm just thinking about the fucking sad sack of shit who listened to the "Here's Johnny" line and thought it was the best thing in the whole movie.
Because that was like them going, "This is going to get such a loud audience reaction," and I'm like, "Get out of here!" That was like a Thor Ragnarok. Like, hey, remember how he called me Point Break? Like that's exactly how it felt to me. That was the same energy, and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah. The night after we watched It Chapter 2 and we were talking about it, I think I said I would rather put my eyes through cheese graters than watch that movie again. It's now closer. I'd probably rather rewatch the movie than put my eyes through a cheese grater, but I still really, really, really fucking hate this movie. But I have seen some of its qualities. There's some subtlety there that I didn't pick up on.
Yeah, some stuff that I didn't notice, like the Pennywise being the kid thing, was really good.
Yeah, and I still really love Chapter 1.
Yeah.
Oh, Chapter 1's great. That's kind of a classic.
Yeah.
Part 2, I think, will go down as like kind of disappointing as an ending, but overall, I don't think people will go back to it as much.
No.
But I do think, like, I don't know, maybe they will.
It's the part in your rewatch where you fall asleep.
I'll fall asleep during the token scene, and then
it's people. If people the of the people that will watch Chapter 2, at least 70 to 80% of them are watching it right after Chapter 1. Whereas a lot of people will watch. I won't watch just Chapter 2.
No. I don't think.
No.
Maybe for like if I want to compare it with your cut, or maybe for like a very like an educational thing. But for my enjoyment, no, I would never watch Part 2 after Part.
I do want to do a cut though.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. I think like the thing is that again, and also the first film stands fine on its own.
Yes, it does.
Whereas this one is like very fucking dependent on, hey, remember that montage in part like
I would have enjoyed it if this film was like its own thing.
Yes.
I agree. I wanted it to be more. That's what I meant. Like, if we got more time in the opening, you could just see this as, watch it as its own film. Like, hey, yeah, they had an experience with Pennywise in the past, and all you really need to know is like some of the basic backstory stuff. But that can be,
sure.
But yeah, that's it. Chapter 2. What an interesting discussion.
Yeah,
I think that was very insightful. And people, I hope people listening to this, maybe you reconsidered some things about the film. I'm guessing that you liked it because the whole world probably likes it, but I know it has gotten some criticism not audiences that I've seen, but critics.
Yeah.
Have been saying it's kind of meandering and
Are they real
disappointing.
critics or YouTube critics?
no, they're like they're like publications online,
Okay. Cool.
like the AV Club and stuff
Right.
like that. You go to Wikipedia, you can read. People are a little disappointed by it. I don't think like the conclusion itself. Like again, I'm willing to go with the whole power of belief beats Pennywise.
Yeah.
That is not my issue with this movie. Like the whole if you look at like the basic premise of this story, I'm willing to go with it. Like the miniseries, I can totally go with it.
Yeah.
But like I think it's more the construction and like the missed opportunities of chapter
Some of the
2
nuances that could have been nuanced.
that could have made it like better than part 1.
Yeah.
Because me going into this film, I was like, oh, part 1 was really good, but part 2 is going to be so much more nuanced.
Yeah, because if
It's about
part
the
one,
adults.
if part 1 tanked box office wise, and never got a part 2, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's weird to me how, like, and from my perception, the kid's story is, like, more logically constructed and mature than the adult story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's very bizarre to me. But I think, again, if you had cut this down to the length of the first movie,
Be fine.
I might have liked it a bit more. Cut the Bowers shit, cut some of the comedy, refine that token shit.
Yeah.
You could have had a much stronger film. But that's basically all I have to say on it.
So I have been Nathan.
I've been Sal.
I've been Josiah, and, we all sink down here.
This is the Escape Pod.
Oh, yeah, you're right. This is Escape Pod.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Donate to the Patreon. Follow our Twitter.
Also, if you like wrestling,
You should watch our new podcast, The Ringside Casuals, now on iTunes, Podbean, Apple Podcasts. It is also being uploaded to YouTube. You can get it anywhere you want to listen to podcasts. It's a quality made show that will come out every week if we can keep this up. There's already 2 episodes out. Please consider listening to it. It's a lot of fun.
yes. Anything you want to plug? Berserk Audio Manga?
Links in the description.